From Vieira, Florida, to the world via the internet, welcome to Brevard County Manatees Baseball. I'm Stephen Smith of SpaceCoastBaseball.com, and I'll be telling you about tonight's game from the first pitch until the final out. Well, we're almost 1 week into the second half of the Florida State League 2010 season. If you're not familiar with how minor league baseball works, most levels, they split their seasons into two halves. One of the reasons being that it creates a little bit more of artificial competition so that you can get more teams into the postseason and the playoffs and, quite frankly, sell some more tickets. And also just because there's such a high rate of turnover in minor league rosters as players move up and down or get released or go on the disabled list. And so you might see a team in the first half that's not all that great, but in the second half it makes quite a run because the roster is different, and that's what happened in 2009 when the Tampa Yankees won the Florida State League pennant. This year, for our Brevard County Manatees, the first half did not go well. They finished in last place in the North Division of the Florida State League with a 27-42 record. They finished 13 and a half games behind first place Dunedin. And in the second half here, after 6 games, they're 2-4. They have lost the first 3 games of this 4-game series against the Daytona Cubs. The Cubs in the first half finished 34-36, 7 games out of first. But here in the second half, they're 5-1, including their last 3 wins in a row against the Manatees. It's been a 4-game series, and it's a rather odd 4-game series. The Florida State League schedule taking advantage of the fact that these two teams are separated by 75 miles up the Interstate 95. If you were to head north from here in Vieira, you'd reach Daytona Beach, and then you turn inland, drive past Daytona International Speedway to go to Jackie Robinson Ballpark, and you get to see the home field of the Daytona Cubs. So the way this series has worked was that Game 1 on Sunday was in Daytona, Game 2 was here in Vieira, Game 3 was last night in Daytona, and the final game of this 4-game series is here in Vieira. We'll give you the starting lineups in just a moment, so if you like to keep score, get yourself a pencil and a piece of paper. We'll give that to you in just a bit. A couple of things administratively to take care of. First of all, as we are into the second half of the 2010 season, you definitely want to be thinking about single-game tickets for the rest of the year. As always, we have general admission here at Space Coast Stadium with a capacity of 7,500. This is the spring training home of the Washington Nationals, but the Manatees are a Milwaukee Brewers affiliate. So there's plenty of room for you to come down here and buy a single-game ticket if that's what you want to do. Single-game tickets are only $7 each. And if you happen to be a college student or in the military and you bring valid ID, tickets are only $5 each. And you can sit anywhere in the stadium you want, including the first row behind home plate, if a seat isn't taken. Season ticket holders, they have labels on their seats that indicate that their seats are taken. But any seat that does not have a label on it, that seat is free for you to sit in for the game. So if you're interested in tickets, there's several ways to do that. One way is by visiting the Manatees website at www.manateesbaseball.com. Another way is just to walk up here at game time and buy your tickets at the box office, or you can call ahead and order your tickets over the phone. The phone number for the Manatees box office is area code 321-633-9200. That's area code 321-633-9200. If you're interested in season tickets, and yeah, I know we're more than halfway through the season, but you can still do that as an option if you want to. The cost for a season ticket over 70 games is $280, which works out to about $4 a game. Now, you can prorate that, and if you prorate it, it's not going to be that amount because the limited number of games are left. Or what you can do is you can get those 70 tickets and you can use them however you want. So if you wanted to bring 69 friends to one game, you could use all those tickets for $4 a piece and sit anywhere in the stadium you wanted. Or you can use them to double up, and basically you and a partner can come for the remaining games as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can slice season tickets. So they're a good package deal, and you get yourself a reserved seat with a label on your chair indicating it is reserved for the rest of the season. So if that's something that interests you, once again, you can call the ticket office or at area code 321-633-9200, and you can inquire about the season ticket package. All right, let's give you the starting lineups now. First for the visiting Daytona Cubs. Leading it off and in center field is number 20, Jose Valdez, V-A-L-D-E-Z. Batting second and at third base is number 17, DJ LeMahieu, L-E-M-A-H-I-E-U. Batting third is the designated hitter, number 11, Ryan Flaherty, F-L-A-H-E-R-T-Y. Batting fourth is the first baseman, number 33, Rebel Riddling, R-I-D-L-I-N-G. Batting fifth is the right fielder, number 32, Kyler, K-Y-L-E-R, Burke, B-U-R-K-E. Batting sixth is the catcher, number 18, Michael Brenly, B-R-E-N-L-Y. Batting seventh is the left fielder, number 16, Smiley Borges. His first name is spelled S-M-A-I-L-Y. The A is silent. And last name Borges, B-O-R-G-E-S. Batting eighth is the second baseman, number 1, David Macias, M-A-C-I-A-S. And batting ninth is the shortstop, number 5, Junior Lake, L-A-K-E. The starting pitcher for the Cubs, right-hander number 44, Dae-Un Ri, from South Korea. It's spelled D-A-E-E-U-N. His last name Ri, R-H-E-E. All right, now here's the starting lineup for the Manatees. Leading it off and at shortstop is number 17, Josh Prince. Batting second and at second base is number 10, Sergio Miranda, M-I-R-A-N-D-A. Batting third is the center fielder, number 8, Eric with a K, Komatsu, K-O-M-A-T-S-U. Batting fourth is the designated hitter, number 16, Angel Salome, S-A-L-O-M-E. Batting fifth is the first baseman, number 24, Sean, S-E-A-N, last name Halton, H-A-L-T-O-N. Batting sixth is the left fielder, number 33, Brock, B-R-O-C-K, Kelgard, K-J-E-L-D-G-A-A-R-D. Batting seventh is the catcher, number 13, Sean, S-H-A-W-N, Zaraga, Z-A-R-R-A-G-A. Batting eighth is the right fielder, number 47, Scott with 2 T's, Krieger, K-R-I-E-G-E-R. And batting ninth is the third baseman, number 30, Juan Sanchez. The starting pitcher for the Manatees is left-hander Dan Merklinger, number 19. Spells his last name M-E-R-K-L-I-N-G-E-R. The managers for both teams are exchanging the lineups at home plate. The umpires for tonight's game behind home plate is Nick N-I-C Lentz, L-E-N-T-Z. The infield umpire is Brandon Hanson, B-R-A-N-D-O-N, and Henson, I believe it is, H-E-N-S-O-N. The manager for the Manatees, as always, is Bob Missick, M-I-S-C-I-K, and the manager for the Daytona Cubs is number 52, Buddy Bailey. But it doesn't look like that's Buddy Bailey who's at the lineup exchange ceremony, and hopefully the gentleman will turn around. He's wearing number 8, and that, according to the Daytona Cubs roster, is number 8, Mark Reed, who's one of the 3 catchers on the team. While we wait for the national anthem, the weather here, we've been looking for rain the last couple of weeks, and we haven't had anything significant. Of course, you don't want to get the game rained out. That's not what we're talking about. But this time of year, it's always very hot and humid, and we rely on the afternoon thunderstorms to keep the evening weather rather pleasant. And it's been very hot and humid for the last week. But other than the few occasional scattered thunderstorms in central Florida, here out on the Space Coast near the Atlantic Ocean, it's been humid, but we really haven't had much rain. Right now it's 86 degrees, and with a 71% humidity, it feels like 97 degrees. The wind is blowing out of the south-southeast at about 11 miles an hour. I'm looking out at the 3 flagpoles just to the left of the center field batter's eye, and they are blowing from right to left, pointing towards the left field foul pole. Every once in a while they go limp just a little bit, and then the flags pick up again like they are right now. So that would tend to aid a hitter who goes to left field, and most of the time the wind's going the other way, but tonight so far it's blowing out to left. The Manatees take the field. They're wearing their formal white jerseys tonight with Manatees in dark red across the front with blue piping, and the Navy stirrups. The players take their positions getting ready for the national anthem. Both teams out of the dugouts lining up. And we're going to put the headset out the window and let you listen to the national anthem, and then we'll be back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming in the rocky trench where the bombs bursting in air gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free in the home of the brave?
Very nicely done. Tess Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Tess.
So we're done with the pregame ceremonies, and as we get ready for the game to begin, tonight's special promotion is it's a blood drive night, and they're calling it Vampire Appreciation Night. So some of the Manatee staff are dressed in vampire ghoulish outfits, which, as you might suspect, is not exactly comfortable for a hot July or June evening. We still have another 5 hours to go in June here in the Space Coast. But, you know, anything to make a buck in minor league baseball, no matter how wacky it is. Dan Merklinger out on the mound, warming up for the Manatees. Merklinger making his 15th appearance of the year at his 11th start. He's 3-3 with a 5.37 ERA. In 62 innings, he has 54 strikeouts, 29 walks. He's given up 4 home runs. The infield defensively for the Manatees, it's Sean Halton at first, Sergio Miranda at second, Josh Prince is at short, and Juan Sanchez is at third. In the outfield and left, it's Brock Helgard. The center fielder is Eric Komatsu. And over in right field is Scott Krieger. The catcher is Sean Zaraga. And once again on the mound is Daniel Merklinger, who winds on the first pitch of the game, is on the inside corner for a strike, 0-1. Daniel winds, and the 0-1 pitch is slapped the other way right at the first baseman Halton, who takes it to the bag himself for the first out. So Juan Valdez goes down on the second pitch of the game for the Daytona Cubs. And that'll bring up the third baseman, DJ LeMahieu. DJ batting .291 with 1 homer, 50 RBI. Merklinger's first pitch hits the inside corner, strike one. Daniel is most effective when he gets ahead in the count, which he has done with the first two batters. It's when he falls behind that he usually struggles. 0-1 pitch is a breaking ball that hits the outside corner. Maybe that was a changeup, and the count's 0-2. Daniel working quickly in the 0-2 pitch. Oh, up at his nose, and he dives away from that one. And the count is 1-2. That gave LeMahieu something to think about. And it's not unusual when they come up and in to see him with the next pitch down and away. 1-2 pitch by Merklinger. Swung on, and it's fouled back into the net. And the count remains 1-2. LeMahieu tied for third in the Florida State League in games played at 73 with teammate Kyler Burke. 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed on a changeup, and Daniel Merklinger has his first strikeout of the game. So with two down, that'll bring up the designated hitter, Ryan Flaherty, batting .313 with 2 homers, 27 RBI. Lefty-lefty matchup against Merklinger. The first pitch, fastball up and away, and the count's 1-0. Flaherty, number 8 in batting average in the league at .313. 1-0 pitch is a bouncer down to the second baseman, Morano, who takes on a couple of hops, goes on to Halton for the out. So a very impressive first inning by Daniel Merklinger, 1-2-3, and after a half inning, it's the Daytona Cubs nothing, and the Brevard County Manatees coming to bat against Dayoon Ray. For those of you who haven't listened to these Manatees webcasts before, the Brevard County Manatees do not have a radio contract, so SpaceCoastBaseball.com volunteered to webcast 15 of the Manatees home games this year, as well as the Florida State All-Star game that we had on Saturday, June 12th. So if you go to SpaceCoastBaseball.com and on the menu bar click on Multimedia and select Audio, you'll see all the prior games that we've webcast so far. They are archived, and this game will be archived, so it will be available in its entirety tomorrow on SpaceCoastBaseball.com. Now, because this is not a regular radio broadcast, the rules are a little bit different for how we work. As you can tell, there are no commercials between the innings, and you won't hear me hawking any products during the play-by-play. It's just going to be you and me talking. But that also means that essentially I don't get a break. So if there are moments where I do need to get away from the microphone, what I will do is I will stick the headset out the window and let you listen to the crowd noise. Or if it's just a momentary break, then what I'll do is I'll just turn the microphone off real quickly like this, and then I'll be right back. So that's how things work, and we'll be together for the next 9 innings and however long it takes to finish the game. Right-hander Dayoon Reed on the mound with his last warm-up pitches for the Daytona Cubs. Reed, 16th game of the year, 15th start, 2-7 with a 4.64 ERA. In 66 innings, he has 38 strikeouts, 23 walks. And he's given up 7 home runs. In fact, those 7 dingers lead the Florida State League. Well, excuse me, that's not true. He is third in the league in home runs allowed with 7. Hader Correa of Clearwater leads with 12. Robert Bono of Jupiter is with 8. And then there's 3 pitchers tied for third along with Dayoon Ray. Bottom of the first, no score. For the Manatees, Josh Prince followed by Sergio Miranda and Eric Komatsu. Josh Prince steps in against the right-hander. Prince bats right-handed. He's batting .251 with 1 homer, 18 RBI. Reworking from the first base side of the rubber, winds, and his first pitch misses high and away, 1-0. T.J. LeMahieu, the third baseman, is in a couple of steps in front of the bag, not quite on the grass. Ree works very deliberately, the 1-0 pitch. Fastball just caught a piece of the outside corner, and the count's 1-1. Next pitch by Ree is a line drive up the alley in left center field. Racing over into the alley is Borges. It's over his head, and it's going to roll to the wall. Cruising into second base is Josh Prince as Borges gets the ball in from the Holiday Inn sign up the alley in left center field, and it's a leadoff double for Josh Prince. So with Josh on second base and nobody out, that'll bring up Sergio Miranda batting .302. No homers, 45 RBI. The switch hitter is batting left-handed against the right-handed Ree. Miranda, excellent contact hitter, and here you'll see him try to pull the ball to the right side. Swings and misses on an off-speed pitch, and the count is 0-1. With Prince on second and nobody out here early in the game, Manatees want to get a lead, and so ideally what Miranda wants to do is make contact, pull the ball to the right side, allowing Prince to advance to third. There's the fastball away, and the count is 1-1. And Ree knows that, and that's why he's going to work the outside corner. The sun's setting behind the first base stands in the eyes of the defense on the left side. This pitch is swung on, and it's fouled out of the stadium on the third base side, and the count goes 1-2. Miranda, second best batter in the league at contact. He strikes out only once every 12.92 plate appearances. 1-2 pitch by Ree is way inside at his feet, and the count is 2-2. Ree is a very deliberate worker. Takes his time. 2-2 pitch. Swung on, and he just gets a piece of it, leaves it down at his feet, and it rolls slowly away from the plate, and the count remains 2-2. On deck is Eric Komatsu. No score in the bottom of the first. The Daytona Cubs went down in order in the top of the first against Daniel Merklinger. Ree looks back at Prince, and the 2-2 pitch is sliced down the left field line, and that's going to leave the stadium. No, it hits the top row of the aluminum bleachers and rolls back down where, well, no fans seem to be chasing it other than little children. They have quite a distance to go because nobody's down there, but a little girl's going after it, and a couple little boys, and a little boy got it. All right, 2-2 pitch is a high pop fly into right center field. Cruising over for it is the right fielder Burke, but the center fielder Valdez steps in front of him to take the ball for the first out.
And third, the center fielder, number 8, Eric Komatsu.
So Miranda unable to advance Prince over to third, and with one out, that'll bring up the center fielder Eric Komatsu, batting .313 with 2 homers, 30 RBI. Like Miranda before him, Komatsu is an excellent contact hitter. 265 at-bats this year. He's only struck out 30 times. Ree taking a long look back at Prince, and he leaves a breaking ball up and away, and the count is 1-0. Baseball America ranks Daeun Ree as the Cubs' number 12 prospect coming into 2010. 1-0 pitch, swung on by Komatsu, gets just a piece of it, and it goes back to the backstop, and the count's 1-1. According to Baseball America, Ree signed for $525,000 as an 18-year-old in July 2007. Here's a line drive right at the first baseman, Riddling for the out, and quickly returning back to second base is Josh Prince. Komatsu tried to get that down the right field line into the corner, but Riddling had just enough time to react to it and glove it an inch or two in fair territory for the second out. So with 2 down, that'll bring up the designated hitter, Angel Salome. Angel hitting just .236, 17 for 72 with 2 homers, 10 RBI. Batting right-handed. First pitch by Rhee. Fastball down the middle, strike 1. Baseball America notes that Rhee in 2008 started with the Peoria Chiefs in the Midwest League. Fastball down and away, and the count's 1-1. But he missed most of 2009 after having Tommy John surgery after making his 4th start of the year. Breaking ball misses away, and the count's 2-1. They say that he's on the verge of regaining his feel and stuff. His fastball has returned to the low 90s. He flashes a solid curveball and a nifty changeup with splitter action, which means it dives down. Here's a fly ball down the right field line. Racing over towards the line are the first baseman, right fielder, and second baseman, but it falls untouched. And the count's 2-2. Baseball America says that Rhee has a clean arm action and no red flags in his delivery, so there are no health concerns going forward. With a chance for 3+ pitches, Rhee could develop into a frontline starter. And by a plus pitch, what they're saying is that you have a pitch that has the potential to be a major league quality pitch. 2-2 pitch to Salome. Misses away. That was probably the changeup, and the count goes full, 3-2. On deck is first baseman Sean Halton. Josh Prince doubled the leadoff inning, but he hasn't advanced since. 3-2 pitch. Fastball misses just off the outside corner, and Salome draws a walk. So with runners on first and second and 2 down, that'll bring up the first baseman Sean Halton. Batting .291, 6 homers, 29 RBI. Confab at the mound as pitching coach Tom Pratt comes out to talk to Rhee, and the entire Daytona infield comes in to join them along with the catcher. Let's give you the Cubs defensively real quickly. Rebel Riddling is at first. David Macias is at second. Junior Lake is at short, and DJ LeMahieu is at third. In the outfield, it's Smiley Borges in left, Jose Valdez in center, and Kyler Burke is in right. Michael Brenly is behind the plate, and Dayoon Rhee is on the mound now as the confab has broken up. The players return to their positions with runners on first and second and 2 down. Halton batting right-handed at the plate. There's a snap throw down to second, and it's bounced by Rhee as he throws it into the shortstop leg, which gives Prince an opportunity to get back. You have to be awake at times when those confabs break up, because sometimes managers and coaches like to put a play on hoping they've lulled you. Here's a breaking ball that's hit foul past Manatees manager Bob Missick, who was coaching at third, and it rolls down to the far end of the visitors' dugout. Superfan, one of 2 Manatees mascots, almost fielded the ball. He's kind of dressed up like sort of a geek version of Superman. 0-1 pitch as a fly ball skied to right field. The right fielder Burke coming in for it, one-hands it, and that's it. So the Manatees had a leadoff double by Josh Prince, a 2-out walk by Angel Salome, but failed to score. No runs, a hit, a walk, no errors, and 2 left. And after 1, the Cubs and the Manatees no score. If you'd like to email me during the game, my email address is home@spacecoastbaseball.com. That's home@spacecoastbaseball.com. Or if you go to the Space Coast Baseball homepage, www.spacecoastbaseball.com, you'll see there's a link there at the top that says click here to email spacecoastbaseball.com. You'll also notice at the top of the homepage there that there's a little blurb reminding you that this is a volunteer effort and that everything that SpaceCoastBaseball.com does to cover baseball in Brevard County relies on the generosity of our listeners and viewers of the videos and audios and articles that are on the website. So if you appreciate these broadcasts and you want to help out financially, there is a link there where you can either make a one-time voluntary donation or you can sign up for a $5 a month voluntary subscription. And for those of you who have already done so, thank you very much. Your financial support is very much appreciated. Other games in the Florida State League today, we had some day games. The Dunedin Blue Jays and the Clearwater Threshers had a day game, and the Threshers won that one in Clearwater by a score of 4-0. Austin Hyatt got the win. He's 7-5 now over Alvarez for Dunedin. They apparently had a makeup doubleheader in Tampa between the Lakeland Flying Tigers and the Tampa Yankees. Both games were postponed. I'm assuming they probably got rained out, as was a game in Fort Myers between the Miracle and the Bradenton Marauders, so that's gone. They're underway in St. Lucie between the Jupiter Hammerheads and the St. Lucie Mets. They're also underway in Palm Beach between the Cardinals and the Charlotte Stonecrabs. And, of course, we're going to the second inning here in the era between the Daytona Cubs and Brevard County Manatees, no score. Rebel Riddling, power hitter, leads it off for the Cubs in the top of the second. First pitch by Daniel Merklinger. Swung on and missed up in his eyes, and the count's 0-1. Riddling, batting .267, 5 homers, 33 RBI. 0-1 pitch by Merklinger is down low, and the count's 1-1. Merklinger features a four-seam fastball, usually seems to be up in the high 80s. Sometimes he can get to 90. Two-seamer, breaking ball, and changeup. Key for Daniel is to get ahead in the count, which he's been doing so far. Fly ball into short right field. Second baseman Miranda going out. Right fielder Krieger comes in and he handles it for the first out. So that'll bring up Cubs right fielder Kyler Burke, who's batting just .208 with 4 homers, 34 RBI. This is a prospect-laden Daytona Cubs roster. Merklinger's first pitch. It's a line drive into center field, but waiting for it is Eric Komatsu, and he has a dead center field for the first out. So with 2 down, that'll bring up the catcher, Michael Brenly, who's batting .273, 3 homers, 19 RBI. And yes, he is the son of former Major League manager and baseball analyst Bob Brenly. As I was saying, the Cubs is a talent-laden roster. Brett Jackson, who was one of the top Cubs prospects, just got promoted to Double-A. Fastball misses away, and the count's 1-0. Jackson was ranked by Baseball America the number 2 Cubs prospect coming into 2010. He got promoted about a week ago. He was an all-star in the Florida State League all-star game. Next pitch down low, and it gets away through the wickets of Zaraga, and the count's 2-0. Going down the Daytona lineup, there are 5 players out of the 10, if you count the DH, who are ranked in the Baseball America top 30 Cubs prospects list. It's a fastball that's fouled right into the net, and it counts 2-1. DJ LeMahieu is ranked number 10. Ryan Flaherty, number 9. Kyler Burke is ranked number 11. Junior Lake, number 29, and Daeun Rhee on the mound is ranked number 12. Next pitch by Merklinger. This is down and away, and the count's 3-1. On deck is the left fielder, Smiley Borges. Merklinger has retired the first 5 batters he's faced, but now he's 1 pitch away from walking his first batter. There's a line drive to deep left field. If it's there, it's gone. It's a home run for Michael Brenly, and there was no doubt about that one. He got around on a fastball, pulled it down the left field line. It cleared the Daytona bullpen with room to spare. I'd guess that one was probably, with it being 340 down the line, somewhere around 375 feet. So the Daytona Cubs take a 1-0 lead on Michael Brenly's 4th home run of the year. That's the 5th home run this season given up by Daniel Merklinger. So that'll bring up the left fielder, Smiley Borges. S-M-A-I-L-Y. First pitch by Merklinger is bounced past Merklinger down to the second base of Miranda and a couple of hops over to Halton for the final out. So one big mistake pitch left up by Merklinger, and it costs him on the solo home run given up by Michael Brenly. The 1 run on the 1 hit, no errors, nobody left, and after an inning and a half, it's the Cubs 1 and the Manatees nothing. Well, we were telling you about the SpaceCoastBaseball.com website, and I was going to check that. I was going to suggest that you check and see some of the other items that are on there. In the last couple of broadcasts, I've talked about the new National Extreme Baseball League that's playing locally in Coco Expo. And you'll see some videos of that league under the videos in the left column. And basic concept behind that is that on the infield, in addition to the white bases, you also have a set of orange bases. And what happens is the first batter in each inning runs the traditional counterclockwise on the white bases, and then the second batter will go clockwise to the orange bases. And it alternates throughout an inning, and it creates some fascinating permutations that make you rethink some of the assumptions that you have about how the game is played. Also, last Sunday, we had the championship game in the Brevard County Adult Baseball Association, which is a local amateur adult baseball league between the Rockledge Rays and the Merritt Island Marlins. Rockledge was, I believe, 10-1 or 11-1 on the year, and the only loss they had were to the Marlins, who I think were 9-3. And the Marlins upset the Rockledge Rays. I think the final score was 8-6. And I was at that game in Merritt Island at Mitchell Ellington Park filming some video on Sunday, and some of that video is already up. You'll see some highlights of both pitchers. You'll also see the controversial ending to that game, and if you go watch the video, you'll see for yourself what happened. Basically, what happened was, again, being adult amateur, they just barely have enough players to play. Rockledge had only one extra player, and he basically was disabled. The home plate umpire in the top of the ninth ejected the Rockledge pitcher for intentionally throwing at a Marlins batter. And with no substitute available, Rockledge had to forfeit the game. And that's how the Marlins won that championship. All right, bottom of the second. Sean Halton leads it off for the Manatees against Dayton Ray. Takes a fastball and the count's 0-1. I'm sorry, it's Brock Kilgard who's up, not Sean Halton. Apologies to the Kilgard family. 0-1 pitch, fastball misses away on the outside corner, the count's 1-1. I thought I'd already seen Sean Halton. Brock Kilgard batting .237, 8 home runs, which leads the Manatees 40 RBI. With the wind blowing to the left, it should be his night. This is a fly ball at dead center field, giving ground as Valdez, and he has it for the first out. So with 1 out, that'll bring up the catcher, Sean Zaraga. Zaraga batting .287 with 1 homer, 12 RBI. The wind tonight at game time was clocked at about 11 miles an hour, blowing from right to left. The flags out in left center field now have pretty much gone limp, but when they do flutter, they flutter slightly to left field. First pitch is behind the back of Sean Zaraga, and the count's 1-0. And actually, we were talking about that BCABA game. They told you that the Rockledge pitcher got ejected for intentionally throwing at a batter, and that's actually what he did, is he threw it behind the back of one of the Merritt Island hitters, and then the next pitch plunked him in the ribs. 1-0 pitch by Ree. Fly ball to center field. Valdez giving ground that curls into the alley, left center field, and he smacks into the BJ's warehouse sign in left center field, catching that ball for the second out. And I think it knocked a little bit of the wind out of Jose Valdez as he's bending over on his knees just a little bit. But little gold star there for Jose Valdez. That ball took off into the alley. Carried more than I thought it would. Jose Valdez in straightaway center field got on his horse and wound up catching that ball going away, smacking into the wall in left center field. Still bending over. He may have smacked the fence with his right knee because it seems like he's favoring his right knee a little bit. In fact, now he's trying to stretch it out. But it must not be enough to keep him from playing, and with 2 down, that'll bring up the right fielder, Scott Krieger, batting .183, 3 homers, 10 RBI. First pitch by Ree. Swung on and missed, 0-1. Krieger does tend to strike out a lot. 20 strikeouts and 60 at-bats. Once every 3 at-bats. 0-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, 0-2. Ree, once again, very deliberate worker, and the 0-2 pitch is going to be a grounder down to second. Charging it is Macias, who goes on to Riddling at first for the final out. So the Manatees gone 1-2-3 in the bottom of the second, and after 2, it's the Daytona Cubs 1, the Brevard County Manatees nothing. Have an email from player's parent of the Manatees asking if there's any way to follow the games online other than by using the Adobe Flash Player. If you go to, whether it's through Minor League Baseball's Game Day audio site or the SpaceCoastBaseball.com link or the link on the ManatesBaseball.com website, they're all pointing to the same link, and without getting into internet techie talk, they all basically link to the same webcast stream. That format is imposed upon us by Major League Baseball Advanced Media, which is known as BAM for short. Minor League Baseball a couple of years ago turned over all their internet operations to Major League Baseball Advanced Media. Last year they used Windows Media Player, which is a very common format, but apparently they had a lot of complaints over the winter from people who are Macintosh users saying that they couldn't use Windows Media Player, or they simply chose not to. So for that reason, over the off season, BAM chose to go to the Adobe Flash Player as its default format, because apparently the Flash encoder, when you listen, you're using a player, but for those of us who are streaming, we're using something called an encoder, and last year was the Windows Media Encoder, but apparently there wasn't a Macintosh version of that. But apparently there is a Macintosh version of the Flash encoder. And so we were stuck with that format, and so if you wanted to listen to the webcast, then you have to use the Adobe Flash Reader. So the question was if there's any way to use something else other than Flash. And unfortunately, the answer is no for any live webcasts. But with my website, as you know, the archives are online the next day, and those are converted to Windows Media format. So if you listen to the game in its entirety tomorrow, you don't have to use the Flash Player. You can use Windows Media Player or any other player that reads the Windows Media Player format. All right, with that techie gobbledygook, first pitch, top of the third by Daniel Merklinger is a strike on the outside corner to David Macias. Next pitch, breaking ball curls in and just misses the outside corner, 1-1. Macias batting .214 with 1 homer, 25 RBI. 1-1 pitch. Grounder, is it going to get past Josh Prince? No, in the short left field, he whirls and throws it on to first, not in time. And it'll be an infield single for Macias. Josh Prince to his right was a step or two out in the short left field, whirled and got the throw off to Halton at first, but it was not in time. And so Macias has a leadoff single, and that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, junior Lake, who's batting .225 with 1 homer, 14 RBI. Lake bunts and it leaves a dead ball right there to the left of home plate and no chance for Zaraga to get Lake at first or Macias at second. So it's a bunt base hit for Lake, advancing Macias to second. We go back to the top of the lineup to Jose Valdez, who grounded out to first to lead off the game. Macias at second is only 2 for 2 in stolen base attempts. Lake at first, 8 for 17. Here's another bunt, and he bunts it back into the net, and the count's 0-1. So if you're not happy about the particular format that's used to listen to these games, well, as I said, it was imposed upon us by Major League Baseball. And I wouldn't be surprised if that changes again in the off-season, but it's a year at a time. Shows bunt again. This pitch is taken on the outside corner, and the count's 0-2. Once again, if you want to send an email, the email address is home@spacecoastbaseball.com. Top of the third, 1-0 Daytona. They have runners on first and second with nobody out. Merklinger looks back at second in the 0-2 pitch. He shows bunt again, and he rolls it to the left side of the mound. Merklinger looks to third, goes on to first to Halton for the out. So credit Valdez with a sacrifice, 1-3. Advancing to third is Macias. Advancing to second is Lake. And with one out, that'll bring up third baseman DJ LeMahieu, who struck out his first time up. LeMahieu, in several offensive leader categories in the league, leads in at-bats at .302, RBI with 50, and hits with 88. First pitch by Merklinger is taken down and in, ball 1. The Manatees infield is in at the corner. Sanchez at third, in a step or two. Halton at first, also in a step or two. The middle infielders are deep. As the bouncer back through the wickets of Merklinger, bounces off the rubber and goes to Miranda at second, who goes on to Halton at first for the out. Scoring from third is Macias on the fielder's choice, and the Cubs now lead by a score of 2-0. Lake remains at second. That was a shot hit right back at Merklinger through his legs, and it bounced off the rubber and took a big hop over to the second baseman, Miranda, who went on to Halton at first, but that allowed Macias to score, and now Daytona leads 2-0. RBI for LeMahieu, and that brings up Ryan Flaherty. First pitch is bounced over the head of Merklinger to Miranda next to second base, who goes on to first for the final out. So the Cubs add another run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left. We go to the bottom of the third, and the Daytona Cubs lead the Brevard County Manatees by a score of 2-0. As we said, this is the final game in a 4-game series between the Daytona Cubs and the Brevard County Manatees, and it's been a home and away 4-game schedule, with the first and third games in Daytona and the second and fourth games here in Vieira. The Daytona Cubs play in historic Jackie Robinson Ballpark, which is located on City Island near the Halifax River in Daytona. The stadium originally was known as City Island Ballpark and was built in 1914. It is the home of both the Cubs and the College Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. The Daytona Cubs began playing there in 1993, and they won 4 Florida State League championships in 1994, 2000, 2004, and 2008. The reason that the stadium is named for Jackie Robinson is that it was the first Florida city that allowed Jackie to play during that historic 1946 spring training when Robinson was in the Dodgers minor league system assigned to the Montreal Royals. They were to play an exhibition game against their parent club, the Brooklyn Dodgers. But both Jacksonville and Sanford will refuse to allow the game due to segregation laws. Daytona Beach permitted the game, which was played on March 17, 1946. This contributed to Robinson breaking the Major League's color barrier the following year when he joined the Dodgers. The refusal by Jacksonville, which was previously the Dodgers' spring training home, led the team to host spring training in Daytona in 1947 and to build historic Dodger Town in Vero Beach for the 1948 season. There is a statue of Jackie Robinson now located at the south entrance of the ballpark. We said that the Bethune-Cookman College Wildcats also play there. Bethune-Cookman at one time was an all-black university, but now, like most of those black colleges, it's integrated, although most of the enrollment is African-American. Wrapping up on Jackie Robinson Ballpark here in just a moment as we go to the bottom of the third. First pitch by Rhee is a breaking ball that misses up to Juan Sanchez, and the count is 1-0. Sanchez batting .219, no homers, 11 RBI. Next pitch by Rhee. This is a slow grounder up the third baseline, gloved by the third baseman LeMahieu, who goes on to the first baseman Riddling for the first out.
Back to the top of the batting order for the Manatees, the shortstop, number 17, Josh Prince.
They go back to the top of the lineup to Josh Prince, who led off the bottom of the first with a ringing double for the Manatees, but they weren't able to move him over and get him in to score. Wrapping up on Jackie Robinson Ballpark, it was previously the home of the Daytona Beach Islanders, the Daytona Beach Dodgers 1968 to 73, and the Daytona Beach Astros from 78 to 84. First pitch by Ray is down and away, and it counts 1-0. The Montreal Expos actually held their spring training in that park from 1973 to 1980. In October 22, 1998, the museum was added to the U.S. National Register of Historic Places. Fastball up and away, misses, and the count to Prince is 2-0. Now, being on the Atlantic Ocean, as you might suspect, the stadium has been subjected to occasional hurricane damage. 2-0 pitch by Rhee. Fastball, wow. That looked like that might be up and away, but home plate umpire Nick Lentz gave that to him, and the count's 2-1. Jackie Robinson Ballpark sustained heavy damage from Hurricane Donna in 1960. There's a line drive down the right field line, but it's going to curl foul, where an adult fan almost backhanded it with a glove, but it got away from him. And it bounces off of the concourse at his feet anyway, so he just picks it up and hands it to his son. And the count's 2-2. On deck, Sergio Miranda. 2-2 pitch by Rhee. Breaking ball bends in but misses, and the count goes full, 3-2. Jackie Robinson Ballpark also suffered hurricane damage in 1999 from Hurricane Floyd when its metal roof was ripped off. And then in 2004, it suffered moderate damage during Hurricane Charlie, causing several games to be moved to Conrad Park and nearby DeLand. There's ball 4. They appealed it down to the first base umpire, Brandon Hanson, but he said no. And it's a one-out walk to Josh Prince. So with one out, that'll bring up Sergio Miranda, who flied out to center field, his first time up. Josh Prince at first, quite the base stealer, 23 for 28. And so you know Michael Brenly will be keeping his gun loaded there behind home plate. There goes Prince on the first pitch. It's a strike. The throw down to second is not in time, and Josh Prince has his 24th stolen base. So Josh Prince, who came into the game number 4 in the Florida State League in stolen bases at 23, now moves up into a tie for third at 24 with Isaias Velasquez of Charlotte. 0-1 pitch is a high fly ball foul down the left field line that bounces off the top row of the aluminum bleachers and takes a big carom back where the parade of children are chasing after the ball again. So the count is 0-2 to Miranda. On deck is Eric Komatsu. 0-2 pitch is a breaking ball, and it's popped high on the infield over towards the third base dugout is LeMahieu, and he one-hands it for the out. So DJ LeMahieu gloves that in foul territory, just beyond the third base coaching box. Josh Prince still on second, and with 2 down, that'll bring up Eric Komatsu, who lined out to first in the first inning. Manatees trailing 2-0 here in the bottom of the third with 2 down. First pitch by Ree, fastball down and away, and the count's 1-0. A single by Komatsu could score Prince and cut that deficit in half. The Manatees have already lost the first 3 games in this 4-game series. 1-0 pitch by Ree is a line drive base hit into center field. Coming around third to score is Josh Prince. Valdez, the center fielder, gets the ball into the shortstop leg, and the Manatees are on the board.
Designated hitter number 16, Angel Salome.
RBI number 31 for Eric Komatsu. So with 2 down, that'll bring up the designated hitter Angel Salome, who walked his first time up. Komatsu also has a tendency to swipe the bags, 17 for 21 in stolen base attempts. Has a modest lead over at first. Ray throws over and Komatsu dives in. Salome joined the Manatees a couple of weeks ago. There's another throw to first, and once again, Komatsu dives back in. Salome came in the 2010 ranked the number 15 prospect in the Brewers system by Baseball America. And he actually had a taste of the big leagues last year. Line drive into left field for a base hit. It falls on a bounce in front of Borges, who gets the ball back into the shortstop lake. Advancing to second is Komatsu.
The first baseman, number 24, Sean Halton.
And that'll bring up Sean Halton, who flied out to right to end the first inning. Finishing quickly on Salome, he was targeted for AAA Nashville this year, but his wife went through a difficult childbirth in the spring, and mentally it kept him from focusing to the point. First pitch misses, and the count's 1-0. Kept him from focusing mentally to the point where he felt he couldn't play properly at AAA, took a leave of absence. When they reactivated him, they sent him to AA Huntsville. Checks his swing, but it's called a strike anyway, and the count's 1-1. He was at Huntsville for a couple of games, and then he said, well, you know what, I don't want to be a catcher anymore. I want to be an outfielder. So they sent him here to Brevard County, where he's largely been a DH, but he has played a couple of games in right field. There's another fastball on the outside corner, and the count is now 1-2 to Sean Halton. So it's been a difficult time for Angel Salome, and he's fallen all the way from AAA down to Advanced Class A here in Brevard County. 1-2 pitch. Just gets a piece of it. No, he didn't. The ball rolls away from Brenly, who throws on to first for the final out. I thought that perhaps on that swing, Halton had fouled the ball. He reached out to try to golf it, and it took a little roll away from home plate as if maybe he got a piece of it. But he acted like he didn't get any part of it, and the catcher, Brenly, acted like he didn't get a part of it. So Brenly ran over to pick up the ball and then threw over to the first baseman, Riddling, to end the inning. So it's a strikeout for Ree with the out recorded 2-3. But the Manatees are on the board. They have a run on 2 hits, a walk, no errors, and 2 left. And after 3 here at Space Coast Stadium in Viera, it's the Daytona Cubs 2 and the Brevard County Manatees 1. We were talking earlier about Jackie Robinson Ballpark, where the Cubs have their home field. And we mentioned that a couple of times over the years. It's been damaged by hurricanes. Well, that's where we live here. And the same thing has happened to Space Coast Stadium here in Vieira a time or two. It was before my time. I moved here a year ago, but I was told that before, I think it was 2004 or 2005, that the scoreboard out in left center field was different. And they had some sort of a device when a home team player hit a home run, that a giant baseball would rise out from behind the scoreboard, similar to how that apple pops out at First Shea Stadium and now Citi Field in New York City where the Mets play. But apparently all that was damaged in whatever hurricane it was, and so now the Manatees have a much more generic scoreboard with a small video board atop the scoreboard. And we're told that this year should be a fairly active hurricane season, but here we are the last day of June, and we're actually in a bit of a drought. We haven't had substantive rain, I guess, maybe in about 10 days or so, and they've been telling us 40 to 50% chance every day, but any action has been minimal, and it's been mostly inland. All right, top of the fourth, the Cubs lead the Manatees 2-1. Rebel Riddling leads it off against Daniel Merklinger, first pitch by the southpaw. Fastball hits the outside corner and the count's 0-1. Riddling will be followed by Kyler Burke and Michael Brenly. Riddling 0 for 1, flied out to right to lead off the second. 0-1 pitch misses down and away, and the count's 1-1. 1-1 pitch. Fastball hits the inside corner, and the count's 1-2. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball, just missed off the outside corner. It looked like it maybe was a bit low. And the count's 2-2. Cubs manager Buddy Bailey way down the line at third, respecting the power of Rebel Riddling. I'd say he's a good 50 feet beyond the coaching box on the third base side. He's even beyond Manatees' third baseman, Juan Sanchez. 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, and it's bounced down to Miranda at second, who goes on to Halton at first, one down. So with one away, that'll bring up the right fielder, Kyler Burke, who flied out to center fielder in the second inning. Coaching for the Cubs over at first base is their hitting coach, Richie Zisk, who was a former power-hitting outfielder for the Pirates and the Cubs in the 70s and into the early 80s, if I recall correctly. He may have been a DH for the White Sox for a while, too. First pitch by Burke. Breaking ball hits the outside corner, and the count's 0-1. Daniel Merklinger, despite being behind 2-1, has been fairly effective. 0-1 pitch is a line drive into right field for a base hit. Fielding it on a couple of hops is Krieger, who gets the ball back into the second baseman, Miranda. And Kyler Burke is on first with a one-out single, and that'll bring up Michael Brenly, who made Merklinger's life miserable by hitting a bomb down the left field line. Solo home run with 2 outs in the second that gave Daytona a 1-0 lead. Merklinger's first pitch is down low, 1-0. Merklinger has pitched better than his numbers would indicate. It's just he makes an occasional mistake, but there's a nice breaking ball that darts in over the inside corner, and it counts 1-1. He left the fastball up to Michael Brenly, and that killed it for a home run. Looks over at the runner and comes in, and there's a little blooper. Is it going to fall in? Yes, it is, and it bounces away from Komatsu into left center field. Advancing to second and stopping is Kyler Burke. And that's kind of an example of what I'm saying, is that one was fisted off of the hands into center field where it fell in front of Komatsu. If you look at the third inning where Daytona scored its second run, Macias got on a single, and then when Junior Lake went to advance, and he laid down a dynamite bunt in front of home plate and just flat out beat it out. So, again, you look at the numbers, 2 runs, 5 hits in 3 1/3 innings. But, he other than the home run, he really hasn't given up a shot. Fastball hits the outside corner, 0-1 to Smiley Borges. Grounded out to second to end the second inning. Burke off of second, Brenly off first, 1 out. Breaks his bat and slices it into right center field, where the second baseman Miranda goes out and catches it like a wide receiver over his shoulder for the second out.
The second baseman, number 1, David Macias.
So with 2 outs, that'll bring up the second baseman, David Macias, who led off the third with a single, advanced to second on the sacrifice single, advanced to third on a sacrifice, and scored on a fielder's choice. Merklinger comes set, looks back at the runner at second. The first pitch is a slow breaking ball and misses inside, 1-0. Defensive alignment pretty much straight away for Macias. Merklinger steps off the rubber, and that causes Burke to take a couple of steps back to second base. But neither middle infielder was taking a couple of steps towards the bag. 1-0 pitch. Fastball hits the inside corner, and the count's 1-1. The infield umpire, Brandon Henson, is standing behind the pitcher, Merklinger, over on the shortstop side. 1-1 pitch, swung on and missed on, looked like a changeup on the inside corner. And there's a big throw down to second. Did he get the runner? Not in time. Zaraga was trying to catch the runner at second, Burke napping, and it wasn't a snap throw. He held onto the ball for a couple of seconds, and then all of a sudden, boom, there was the throw down to second. Josh Prince racing over to the bag, but the throw was a little high, and Burke was able to get back in just in time. 1-2 to Macias. Merklinger 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning, and the pitch is poked into right field. Is it going to get past Miranda? Yes, it is, for a base hit. Coming around third, trying to score. The throw, he is gone. Dynamite throw by Scott Krieger to take down Kyler Burke, trying to score from second on that base hit. So it'll be no runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left. And we go to the bottom of the 4th, and it's the Cubs 2, the Manatees 1. Kyler Burke is eliminated 9-2. And again, as I said, it's just indicative of the way that Daniel Merklinger's night is gone. That was a roller that just got past Miranda. He dove for it. The ball certainly was not hit sharply. And the right fielder, Krieger, charged the ball. Burke racing around third, but the throw was right on the money to the catcher, Zaraga, for the final out. So it's 2-1 Daytona as we go to the bottom of the 4th. We were talking earlier about the history of Jackie Robinson Ballpark, and I want to tell you a little bit now about Space Coast Stadium here. Certainly a much newer facility than Jackie Robinson Park in Daytona. This complex was built for the Florida Marlins, who were an expansion team that began playing the National League in 1993, out of Miami, of course. Their initial spring training home was what's now known as Coco Expo, which was originally the spring training home of the Houston Colt 45s, then became the Houston Astros. That facility opened in 1964, and it still exists here in Brevard County at the intersection of the I-95 and Highway 520. It's used mostly for amateur events, and as I said earlier, the semi-pro Space Coast Rockets are using that. When the Marlins came in there for their first year, the stadium was painted teal in the Marlins color. And then in 1994, Brevard County built this complex here in Vieira for the Marlins, and so they moved into here in 1994. More on your Manatees history lesson in just a moment. If we go to the bottom of the fourth with the Manatees trailing 2-1, Brock Kelgard leads it off, followed by Sean Zaraga and Scott Krieger. Dayton Reeves' first pitch. Did he check his swing, but did he go around? Yes, he did, according to the infield umpire, Brandon Henson. The count's 0-1. Kelgard flied out to center field his first time up. 0-1 pitch by Ree. Swung on and missed on a breaking ball down and in, and the count's 0-2. The flag's out in left center field, still blowing weakly to left field. 0-2 pitch, breaking ball inside, and the count is 1-2. On deck, Sean Zaraga. Kelgard definitely has the power to go deep. He leads the Manatees in home runs with 8. Breaking ball up and in, and the count goes 2-2. But Brock also strikes out a lot. In fact, he leads the Florida State League in strikeouts with 98. 2-2 pitch. Fisted, and it rolls slowly up the first baseline, foul. So we were saying this complex here, which is technically known as the Carl Barger Complex, opened in 1994 as a spring training home of the Florida Marlins, and in addition to Space Coast Stadium, we have a number of minor league fields out behind the stadium to the north. And I'm sure that was the home base of the Marlins minor league system during those years. And a Florida State League franchise opened up here in 1994, the Brevard County Manatees, as a Marlins affiliate. 2-2 pitch. Fastball held there by Michael Brentley in the outside corner, but he doesn't get the call, and the count goes 3-2. And this franchise drew quite well in the 1990s as a Marlins affiliate with Miami about 200 miles down the freeway. Fastball misses away, ball 4. So that'll bring up the catcher, Sean Zaraga, who flied out to deep center field his first time up. Kelgard at first doesn't run very often. 2 stolen bases, caught once. Zaraga batting left-handed. And with the first baseman Riddling holding on Kelgard, big hole on the right side. Fastball misses away, and the count's 1-0. Second baseman Macias, couple of steps over from the normal second base position. There's a bouncer up the middle, but the shortstop Lake is there, throws it to Macias, who drops the ball. So safe at second will be Kelgard on the error by the shortstop Lake. Credit and assist to the second baseman Macias. So that'll go 4-6. Zaraga on first on the error. Kelgard now on second, nobody out, and that'll bring up the right fielder Scott Krieger, who bounced out to second to end the second inning. Ree again, very deliberate pitcher, taking his time, so Krieger steps out. Now he steps back in. First pitch by Ree, swung on and missed, 0-1. Krieger does tend to strike out a lot, but he is also a power hitter. Tends to strike out about once every 3 at-bats. Last year, in Rookie A. Helena, struck out 103 times in 277 at-bats. This time he shows a bunt, and he pops a foul back into the net, and the count is 0-2. On deck is Juan Sanchez. Brock Kelgard on second, Sean Zaraga on first. Nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth. Manatees trail Daytona 2-1. 0-2 pitch. Gets away from Brentley. It was outside. It rolls to the backstop, and the runners advance to second and third. Now, we don't get on the scoreboard an indication of the official ruling, whether that was a pass ball or a wild pitch. I kind of expect a lot of catchers, so if it was me, I would rule that a pass ball. but I'll check the official game report on MILB.com scoreboard page, and I'll let you know in just a little bit. Time called by the home plate umpire. I think that one was 50-50. You could go with pass ball or a wild pitch. Fastball misses away and it counts 2-2. Base hit could give the Manatees the lead, although you do have a slow runner at second in Zaraga. 2-2 pitch is a line drive past Wayne Hosey, the hitting coach, in the coach's box at first. And the count remains 2-2. Krieger came into the game batting just .183, 11 for 60. Two pitch. Swung on it, a little bouncer past Reed, rolling down to the second baseman, Macias, and it gets under his glove and dies on the infield. Racing over to get it is Lake, but scoring on the play is Kelgard. Advancing to third is Zaraga. And let's see how that's ruled. It's going to be an error on the second baseman, Macias. So back-to-back errors help the Manatees tie up the game. Zaraga advances to third. Krieger on first. It's a 2-2 tie. Still nobody out. And that brings up the number 9 hitter, Juan Sanchez, who grounded out to third. His first time up. Time called, and Daytona pitching coach Tom Pratt comes out having a nice chat with Ree and with the catcher, Brenly. So anyway, back to our little history lesson about Space Coast Stadium. Everything was going kind of hunky-dory in the 1990s when this was a Florida Marlins affiliate. The average attendance was doing pretty well. They got up to 2,234 on the average in 1996. And the last year they were a Marlins affiliate was 2001. They drew an average of 2,151. And then it was after the 2001 season that a complicated transaction between Montreal Expos owner Jeff Loria and the Florida Marlins owner and Major League Baseball. First pitch to Juan Sanchez is low, ball one. In that complicated transaction, Loria wound up taking over the Marlins. Major League Baseball wound up taking over the Expos. Fastball blocked and backhanded nicely by Brenly, and the count's 2-0. So as part of that deal, Loria had the Marlins affiliate in the Florida State League moved down to Jupiter, where the Expos had been, and the Montreal Expos came up here to Vieira and took over the Manatees. 2-0 pitch to Sanchez. Fastball hits the outside corner, and the count's 2-1. No longer being a Florida Marlins affiliate, attendance dropped from 2,151 to 1,420 in 2002. It picked up a little bit in the next 2 years. 2-1 pitch swung on and missed on a fastball, and the count's 2-2. And in 2004, they averaged 18.22 a game. Then, after the 2004 season, the Expos moved to Washington, D.C., and the Nationals decided that they wanted to have their Advanced A affiliate Potomac, which is a suburb of Washington. There's a fastball backhanded by Brenly, who keeps it going from the backstop, and the count goes full to Juan Sanchez. On deck is Josh Prince. Zaraga on third, Krieger on first. 2-2 tie here in the bottom of the fourth, nobody out. Pitch is swung on and it's rolled foul down the third baseline. The count remains 3-2. So with the Nationals moving their Advanced Class A affiliation to Potomac, that left the Manatees without an affiliation, and that's when the Brewers came in 2005. And they just extended through 2012. 3-2 pitch, swung on, and that's another slow roller up the third baseline. Gloved by, well, can't be say it's gloved by Bob Missick because he doesn't have a glove, so barehanded by Bob Missick, who tosses it into the stands for a fan, and the count remains 3-2. 3-2 pitch is a small fly ball. Well, this one's not so small. It drifts towards fairly deep center field where it's caught by Valdez. Scoring on the sacrifice fly is Zaraga. And the Manatees take a 3-2 lead.
The shortstop, number 17, Josh Prince.
Krieger remains at first with 2 down. We go back to the top of the lineup to Josh Prince, who's doubled and walked. Still looking for an official ruling on that play when Zaraga advanced to second. Now, there goes the runner at first, and the pitch is swung on and fouled back behind home plate, and the count's 0-1. Still looking for that ruling when Scott Krieger was at the plate with Kelgard on second and Zaraga at first, and they advanced on the ball that got past Brenly, trying to decide whether or not it was a wild pitch or a passed ball. They post on the minor league baseball website, MILB.com. If you go to that page, MILB.com, and then you click on scoreboard on the menu bar and select Florida State League. Fastball down the middle, and the count's 0-2 to Josh Prince. When you select the Florida State League, you'll see each game, and you can see 2 links. One says recap, and the other says box. Recap will give you the play-by-play rulings. But it's not instantaneous. It usually takes a few minutes to catch up. 0-2 pitch, fastball down low, blocked by Brenly, and the count's 1-2. And so they've only just posted the top of the 4th for Daytona. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see whether or not it pops up eventually and tells us if that was a wild pitch or a pass ball. There goes the runner, swung on by Prince, and he fouls it back into the net, and the count is 1-2. Krieger, no stolen bases, no caught stealing yet for the Manatees. Takes his walking lead from first. 1-2 pitch to Prince is a big breaking ball up and in, and the count's 2-2. Well, we told you earlier that Rhee missed a good chunk of 2009 due to Tommy John surgery. And it usually takes a good year for a pitcher to come back from that operation. And there's a throw over to first, but back standing is Krieger. Certainly pitchers will struggle with their control and their mechanics after such a long layoff. 2-2 pitch, fastball on the outside corner, strike 3 called. So Josh Prince has gone looking, and with 2 down, that'll bring up second baseman Sergio Miranda, who's 0 for 2, flied out to center and fouled out to the third baseman. Of course, Tommy John surgery, just a fancy way of saying elbow ligament replacement surgery. First pitch is swung on, and it's fouled back on the third base side, and it's going to leave the stadium, and the count's 0-1. The basic concept is that the damaged ligament in the elbow is replaced by a ligament taken from the player's leg and transplanted. Fastball misses away, 1-1. And it is reattached to that elbow bone, and of course it takes quite a long time for that to heal and bond. 1-1 pitch, there goes Krieger. The pitch is swung on a miss, throw down to second, and Scott Krieger has his first Florida Stolen League stolen base. Stolen base number 1 for Scott Krieger. And now he's in scoring position to help the Manatees pad their 3-2 lead. Pitch to Miranda, rolled foul, and bounces off the front of the Manatees dugout on the first base side. The count remains 1-2. You can tell a pitcher who's had Tommy John surgery because he has a moon-shaped scar on his elbow where he had the surgery. 1-2 pitch. Miranda pokes it out down the line on the third base side, and it bounces just foul. Racing over after the ball was the left fielder Borges. That ball was less than a foot foul. Remember, Sergio Miranda, one of the best contact hitters in the Florida State League, he took a pitch that was down and away and just poked at it, trying to dump it into left field for a base hit, but it bounced foul, but like I said, less than a foot. Swung on and missed on a breaking ball, and Sergio Miranda goes down swinging. So the last 2 outs were on strikeouts, but the Manatees take the lead. 2 runs on no hits, 2 errors, thank you very much, and 1 left. And after 4 here at Space Coast Stadium in Vieira, it's the Manatees now leading the Daytona Cubs by a score of 3-2. Wrapping up our earlier discussion about the history of the Manatees here at Space Coast Stadium, I told you that the Expos left in after 2004 when they became the Nationals and the Brewers came in. The average attendance per game in 2004 when Montreal left was 1822. 2005 with the Brewers the first year, 1591. There was a slight decline in attendance, and it hit rock bottom in 2008 when it was just 1,035 a game. Last year, it picked up a bit to 1,183. And so far here in 2010, the average attendance is 1,356. So if that holds, that's going to be the best since 2006. And certainly a lot of credit for that has to go to Kyle Smith and staff. Kyle is general manager, and he's a very young general manager. He's about 28 years of age, I believe. And he's done quite a bit in the year that I've been here to improve the quality of the product in terms of what you see, entertainment in the stands and the general environment. Now, he can't do anything about the talent on the field. Those guys are provided by the Milwaukee Brewers. And last year, the Manatees went to the playoffs because they had so much talent given to them by the Brewers. This year, of course, a different story, 27-42 in the first half and 2-4 here in the second half after 6 games, so we'll have to see how that goes. But in any case, attendance is back on the upswing, and certainly the slow improvement in the economy is going to help with that as well. But everything trending up for the Manatees in terms of their baseball operation here in 2010. We just need to do something about the product that's on the field between the lines. All right, top of the 5th, 3-2, the Manatees now in the lead. First pitch by Daniel Merkingler is rolled up the first baseline, but it rolls foul by the shortstop, Junior Lake, who reached first on a sacrifice base hit in the bottom of the 3rd. Lake came in batting .225 with a homer, 14 RBI. One pitch by Merklinger leaves a breaking ball up and away, and it counts 1-1. Lake was named the number 29 prospect by Baseball America out of the top 30 in the Cubs system. Just made the book. Swung on and missed on a fastball up in his eyes. And the count goes 1-2. And basically he made the top 30 list due to his excellent defensive skills. 1-2 pitches bounced over the head of Merklinger. He tries to barehand it. Miranda charges, throws to first late. Well, Daniel Merklinger, A for effort, but not the smartest thing in the world to do for a pitcher to reach out with his bare pitching hand. That's how he makes his living. And he tried to barehand that ball to make a play, and then I think he kind of realized what he was doing at the last moment, pulled back his hand, and Miranda charged it, but had no chance to get the speedy Lake at first. So it's an infield single for Lake. We go back to the top of the lineup to the center fielder, Jose Valdez. There's a token toss over to first, and Lake is back standing. Junior Lake, 8 for 17 in stolen bases. First pitch by Valdez swung on and rolled foul back to the Daytona on-deck circle. 0-1. Juan Sanchez at third was in a step or two on the grass looking for a bunt. Now he's right at the lip of the grass. Merklinger looks over at first, and the 0-1 pitch is a slow roller down to the shortstop, Prince, who goes on to Miranda at second for 1, and that's all he'll get. So say goodbye to Junior Lake, 6-4.
Third baseman, number 17, DJ LeMahieu.
Valdez on first on the fielder's choice, and with one out, that'll bring up the third baseman, DJ LeMahieu, who struck out and rolled out to second. Valdez at first, taking a somewhat substantive lead. First pitch by Merklinger is a fly ball hit the opposite way into right field, and now it falls in front of the right fielder Krieger for a base hit. Advancing to second is Valdez, and I think Krieger misjudged that ball because, quite frankly, he had a chance at it, and he circled around it, and I don't know whether he lost it in the stadium lights or he just misjudged the ball. But it'll be a base hit, and it continues the bad luck that Merklinger's had in this game, as I said earlier, with the exception of the ringing home run hit by Michael Brenly in the second inning. No one's really tagged him all that hard. He's pitched pretty well. But Valdez advances to second on the single by LeMahieu, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Ryan Flaherty. There go the runners. First pitch is down and away, and both runners will advance as Sean Zaraga blocks it and keeps it in front of himself, but he couldn't get a hold of it to make a throw. So I think that'll be a double steal with stolen bases credited to Valdez and LeMahieu. Runners now on second and third with one out, and a base hit by Flaherty could give Daytona the lead. Flaherty batting .313 coming into the game, which is 8th in the league. There's a breaking ball left inside, and the count is 2-0. Third baseman Sanchez basically parallel with the runner Valdez at third. 2-0 pitch, fastball up and away, and the count's 3-0. Sean Halton over at first is off the bag about maybe 15 feet and about parallel with the bag. Flaherty batting left-handed could yank that one down to Halton. 3-0 pitch, fastball misses up, and the count is ball 4. And advancing to first is Flaherty, and that'll load the bases for the cleanup hitter, Rebel Ridley. Time called, and here comes the pitching coach, Fred Dabney. Joining them out on the mound is the catcher, Zaraga, first baseman, Halton, and the third baseman, Sanchez. I sometimes wonder why it is certain players will come to the mound and others don't. Now, in this case, you've got the first baseman and third baseman, but why not the middle infielders? Bases are loaded, time's called. Nobody's going anywhere. But that's what they do.
Time to look back our beer batter for the Cubs, the first baseman, number 33, Rebel Ridley.
So that brings up Rebel Riddling, who's flying out to right and ground out to second. First pitch by Merklinger. Breaking ball hits the inside corner, 0-1. Fastball misses away, and it counts 1-1. Valdez on third, LeMahieu on second, Flaherty on first. One out. Ground ball could get Merklinger out of the inning. And there it is. Grounder down to Miranda at second. He drops it, flips it backhand of the shortstop Prince on to first, not in time, and a run scores. Well, you can't credit an error on the play because Miranda, after he dropped the ball, picked up with his hand and just backflipped it to the shortstop Prince, who was standing on the bag, to erase Flaherty 4-6. But scoring is Valdez. Advancing to third is LeMahieu. And on first on the fielder's choice is Rebel Riddling, and we're tied once again at 3-3. So that'll bring up the right fielder, Kyler Burke, who's 1 for 2 with a flyout and a single. Merklinger's first pitch, breaking ball, hits the outside corner, strike one. Burke is ranked the number 11 prospect in the Cubs system by Baseball America. 0-1 pitch blocked nicely by Zaraga, and the count's 1-1. finally got a ruling on that play with Scott Krieger at the plate in the bottom of the fourth. Was it a wild pitch or was it a pass ball? Official ruling is it was a wild pitch. Well, I told you I'm hard on catchers. I kind of tend to think they should block almost everything, but the official scorer ruled it a wild pitch. This one is swung on and foul back into the net, and it counts 1-2. So Merklinger, one pitch from getting out of this inning. And as I said before, Merklinger's been pitching pretty well, but he's had a lot of bad luck, and he needed a double play ground ball. He got it, but Miranda bobbled it. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball. It's a high pop fly over on the first base side of the infield. Calling off Halton as the second baseman, Miranda, for the final out. So the Daytona Cubs tie it up with a run on 2 hits, a walk, and 2 left. And as we go to the bottom of the 5th, it's the Daytona Cubs 3 and the Brevard County Manatees 3. We have a new pitcher coming in for the Daytona Cubs, so the night is over for Dayun Ray, who, as we said, is recovering from Tommy John surgery in 2009. He's been averaging a little over 4 innings per start. So the fact that he only went 4 innings seems about typical for what he's been doing so far this year. New pitcher is a left-hander for the Daytona Cubs. It's going to be left-hander Jeff Beliveau, Beliveau. He wears number 50. Beliveau making his 20th relief appearance of the year for Daytona, 1-1 with a 3.42 ERA in 23 2/3 innings, 24 strikeouts, 14 walks, and he's given up only 1 home run. The league is batting .217 against Jeff Beliveau. So we're halfway through the game, and it's a 3-3 tie as the Daytona Cubs and the Brevard Manatees try to wrap up a 4-game series. The Cubs have won the first 3 games in this series, and Brevard trying to get 1 for pride before we move on to the next series. And let's tell you what the Manatees' schedule is going to be like in the next couple of weeks. Starting tomorrow, July 1, they'll be on the road for a 3-game series in Dunedin against the Blue Jays. Thursday and Friday at 7 p.m., and then Saturday night, 4:30 p.m. in Dunedin. And no doubt that's a fireworks night in Dunedin, I would guess, with that unusual 4:30 start. More on the schedule in a moment. Bottom of the 5th, 3-3 tie. It'll be Eric Komatsu, followed by Angel Salome and Sean Halton. Komatsu lined to first in the first and singled in the third. Batting left-handed against the left-hander Beliveau. First pitch, up and away, ball 1. The radar gun says that one was at 92 miles an hour. As we've said in prior broadcasts, the radar gun is usually pretty accurate, but not always. Swung on and missed on a 91 mile an hour fastball, and the count's 1-1. The radar is mounted on a pole right behind the net, behind home plate. And most of the time it's accurate, but every once in a while it will show you an unusual number like 58. Fastball hits the outside corner and it counts 1-2. In that case it said 92. And you might think, well, a weird number like that, maybe it's picking up the catcher's tossing the way back. No, because I've seen where the catcher's still holding the ball and it'll have some weird number. But most of the time it seems accurate when it gives you a reasonable number. Swung on a miss on a fastball, and Eric Komatsu goes down swinging. 3 Manatees in a row have struck out. 2 of them against Ray, and that's the first strikeout for Bellevaux. So that'll bring up the cleanup hitter, designated hitter Angel Salome, who's walked and singled. The official line for Dayoon Ray. We'll give you that in just a moment. Fastball misses away, 1-0. For Ree, 3 runs, 2 earned, 3 hits in 4 innings, with 3 strikeouts and 3 walks. 1-0 pitch by Bellevaux, swung on and missed, and the count's 1-1. Anyway, after the 3-game road series, the Manatees are back here for the 4th of July, starting on Sunday with a 6:05 game against the Tampa Yankees. Can't ask for anything better than 4th of July fireworks and New York Yankees affiliate. There's a fastball up and in, and the count's 2-1. That's a 3-game series against the Yankees. 6:05 on Sunday, 7:05 on Monday night, and 7:05 on Tuesday night. That Tuesday night, July 6th game will be our next webcast. Fastball swung on and missed, and the count's 2-2. So we'll be doing our next webcast on Tuesday night, July 6th, the 3rd game in that 3-game series against the Yankees. I'm hoping on one of those games I can get over here and do some videography or still photos. Swung on and missed on a fastball, and down swinging goes Angel Salome. So that's 4 strikeouts in a row for the Manatees, 2 by Ray and 2 by Bellevaux. And that'll bring up Sean Halton, who struck out himself his last time up. But I kind of like to get out here and get some photos and videos of the Manatees and get it online for you. So hopefully I can make one of those 2 games before Tuesday night's webcast. First pitch to Halton, swung on and missed. The Radars had Bellevaux consistently at 92. That number was at 93. We've seen 91, 92, and now we've seen 93. 0-1 pitch. Fastball, he gets a piece of it and fouls it back into the net, and the count's 0-2. After the Tampa series, the Manatees have 3 games here at home against the Clearwater Threshers, the Phillies affiliate, on July 7, 8, and 9. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, all at 7:05 p.m. 0-2 pitch by Bellevaux, swung on a miss, strike 3. So Jeff Bellevaux strikes out the side here in the bottom of the 5th. And after 5 innings, the Cubs and the Manatees are tied 3-3. Here in Space Coast Stadium, after the 5th inning, they do promotion where they, quote-unquote, let the dogs out. I'm sure you can hear the music in the background. The basic concept is that children and parents or anybody else who wants to make a fool of themselves running out on the field, but they can do it legally, line up behind the gate in left center field, just to the left of the 404 sign. Manny the Manatee, the official mascot and superfan, lead them out onto the field, and they all run from that gate in center field for another gate that's just beyond the visitors' dugout on the third base side. It's mostly children, but you do get a few parents out there and some teenagers, and every once in a while you get an accident or a little bit of mayhem out there. I saw one time where Manny the Manatee, the mascot running around with one of those big mascot heads on, tripped over a little boy who cut in front of him. They both went down, well, nose first for the little boy, snout first for the Manatee. The little boy just got up and kept on going, but Manny, obviously, it affected him a little bit. He was a bit stunned and finally gestured up towards the press box. He was okay and staggered in the rest of the way. But it looked like a pretty routine run tonight. As we get the last of the people off the field, we go to the top of the 6th with the Daytona Cubs and the Brevard County Manatees in a 3-3 tie. We have a new pitcher for the Manatees. It's going to be number 18, Trey Watton. So the night is over for Daniel Merklinger. We'll give you his official numbers here in just a moment. For Trey Watton, it's his 18th appearance of the year. He's had 7 starts. The rest of the appearances were in relief. He's 0-5 with a 4.02 ERA. In 56 innings, 34 strikeouts, 30 walks. He's hit 7 batters, so Daytona batters beware. And he's given up 4 home runs.
Leading off the Cubs in the top of the 6th inning, the catcher, number 18, Michael Brenly.
Michael Brenly will lead it off with the Cubs in the top of the 6th, followed by Smiley Borges and David Macias. Brenly homered and singled. Right-hander Watton's first pitch, fastball down the middle, strike 1. Velocity shows at 89 miles an hour. Next pitch by Watton, fastball misses away, and the count is 1-1. Final numbers for Daniel Merklinger: 3 runs, 8 hits in 5 innings. All 3 runs were earned. He gave up 1 walk, struck out 1, and gave up the solo dinger to Brenly, the batter at the plate. 1-1 pitch is a slow roller down to short. Prince slips on the grass, and he'll have no play. The third baseman, Sanchez, ranging to his left, thought about making a play for it. They deferred to Prince, who was ranging to his right, and he got 1 foot planted on the outfield grass and slipped. It'll be ruled a base hit for Michael Brenly. So if you charge an error there, I guess it has to be on the groundskeeper. It can get treacherous out there when we've had a lot of rain, because when they put the tarp on the infield, they will dump the water on a line that's basically parallel between third and second behind the infield. But it hasn't rained here in a while. First pitch to Smiley Borges is a strike, 0-1. Borges grounded out to second and popped out to the second baseman. Brenly at first, taking a somewhat modest lead. He has no stolen bases this year, no attempt. Next pitch is bounced foul back towards the Daytona on-deck circle, and the count goes 0-2 to Smiley Borges. Came into the game batting .229. Brenly takes a couple steps off of first, and the 0-2 pitch by Watton. Fastball down low and away, and the count's 1-2. Watton in his 3rd professional year in the Brewers system. 1-2 pitch, breaking ball misses away, and the count's 2-2. Began his career in 2008 with the Helena Brewers in the Rookie A Pioneer League, where he was 3-2 with a 5.40 ERA. 15 games, 10 starts, worked 55 innings, struck out 40 and walked 25. That Pioneer League is very much a hitter's league. Most of those ballparks are high-altitude ballparks. There's a curveball that's popped foul over towards the Manatees dugout. Sean Halton comes over, but there's no way he has a chance for it. It's way up on the concourse walkway, and the count remains 2-2. David Macias is on deck. 3-3 tie here, top of the 6th. The lead is seesawed back and forth. Watton's 2-2 pitch is a grounder down to third, picked up by Sanchez. It goes on to Miranda at second for 1 and on to first, not in time. Borges broke his bat on that swing. I saw a piece of it fly onto the infield. The third baseman, Sanchez, charged and gloved it Highlight style, whirled him through to Miranda, covering second to erase Brenly 5-4. Borges reaches on the fielder's choice, and so with 1 out, that'll bring up the second baseman, David Macias, who's singled twice. Borges doesn't seem to be much of a stolen base threat. He's 0 for 1. There's a throw over to first, and he dives back in. So anyway, we told you Watton began his career in 2008 with Rookie A Helena, and then spent all of 2009 with the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, where he was 5-14 with a 4.71 ERA. First pitch misses away with a fastball, 1-0. He was a starter most of the time, worked 133 2/3 innings, struck out 96 and walked 58. There's another throw to first, and once again diving back is Borges. Watton was drafted by the Brewers out of Abilene Christian University in his junior year. where he had been a pitcher for only 2 years. Macias checks his swing, but the umpire calls it a strike, and the count's 1-1. A report by the Abilene Reporter News around the time of the June 2008 draft. Fastball to the inside corner, 1-2. Said that Watton had thrown bullpen sessions for the Baltimore Orioles, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Detroit Tigers in the week before the draft and was expected to be taken sometime in the first 10 rounds. 1-2 pitch is bounced past Watton down to the shortstop, Prince, who bobbles it. Miranda picks it up and manages to force Borges at second for the out. So that's going to be 6-4 in a most unorthodox fashion. Josh Prince tried to pick it up and go to the bag all in one motion, but he dropped the ball. Miranda saw it lying there, picked it up, stepped on the bag to force Borges, and on first on the unorthodox fielder's choice is David Macias. I would think it's Macias, but the Cubs broadcaster said it's Macias, and I'll go with them. So with 2 down, Macias on first, that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Junior Lake. Lake bunted for a single in the third and then singled again in the fifth. First pitch by Watton, swung on and missed, 0-1. According to the Abilene Reporter News article, in his first 2 years as a pitcher in college, Watton was 20-3 with a 2.74 ERA. He had always been a shortstop third baseman prior to those first 2 years. There's another throw over to first, and diving back in is Macias. It says as a sophomore in 2007 in Abilene Christian, he was named a Lone Star Conference's Player of the Year after batting .351 with 2 homers and 36 RBI. There goes the runner. It's a pitch out, the throw down to second to Miranda, and say goodbye to Junior Lake and the Cubs in the top of the 6th. Well, the Manatees saw that one coming. They called for a pitch out, and Macias goes bye-bye, 2-4. No runs, a hit, no errors, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's the Cubs 3 and the Manatees 3. So we said that the Abilene Reporter News predicted he'd be taken in one of the first 10 rounds. And a subsequent report on June 7, 2008 indicates that the Brewers did take him in the 7th round of the 2008 draft. And it said that Watton had already decided right at that point he was going to turn pro. As soon as he was drafted, he wasn't going to wait for his senior year. In his junior season, he posted 10 wins and had a 2.56 ERA in 98 1/3 innings. His 7th round selection made him the 2nd highest Abilene Christian player selected in the draft, only behind Bill Gilbreth, a 3rd round selection by Detroit in 1969. We go to the bottom of the 6th in a 3-3 tie. The last 5 Manatee batters have struck out. The first 2 to end the 4th against Daeun Rhee, and then all 3 batters who faced Jeff Bolivo in the bottom of the 5th. The Cubs, 3 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors. The Manatees, 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors. Trying to end the strikeout streak will be Brock Kelgard, Sean Zaraga, and Scott Krieger. Once again, a reminder, if you're listening out there and you want to send a question, a comment, or just a howdy do, the email address is home@spacecoastbaseball.com. Again, that's home@spacecoastbaseball.com. We'll be back here in 6 days for the Tuesday night game against the Tampa Yankees. The second of 3 Tampa Yankees broadcasts that we'll be doing this year. Earlier games are archived on the Space Coast Baseball website. If you click on Multimedia on the menu bar and select Audio, you'll see all the archives. Okay, the first pitch to Kelgard is up and in, and the count's 1-0. Kelgard flied out to center and walked. He scored the second run for the Manatees in the game. Next pitch is taken for a strike, and it counts 1-1. 1-1 pitch is swung on, and Kelgard gets just a piece of it, sends it into the backstop net, and it counts 1-2. The flags at left center field are limp. There's no breeze at all. Space Coast Stadium, one of the most pitcher-friendly parks in a generally pitcher-friendly league. 1-2 pitch. Kelgard checks the swing. It's up at his hands, and the count's 2-2. 340 down the lines, 404 to dead center field, but very deep alleys. The distance not posted, but I guess it's somewhere in the 380s. 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball darts inside on the inside corner. Strike 3 called. So that's 6 in a row that Manatee batters have gone down. 4 in a row for Beliveau. Jeff Beliveau came into the game in 23 2/3 innings. He had 24 strikeouts. So he's certainly got his K's going tonight. First pitch to Sean Zaraga, swung on and missed, 0-1. Zaraga flied out to center field and reached on an error. He scored the third Manatees run. 0-1 pitch, high and away, and it counts 1-1. Well, when you have a pitcher go off on a strikeout streak like this, sometimes it can be a hindrance in the sense that the defense starts to rock back on their heels a little bit. It becomes a game of catch between the pitcher and the catcher. This one swung on and missed. Counts 1-2. Growing up in Southern California, I watched Nolan Ryan very early in his career there in the early mid-'70s, and you'd see games where he'd strike out 18, walk 10 or 11, give up maybe 1 or 2 hits. Fastball, strike 3 called. 5 in a row for Beliveau. He got all 3 swinging in the 5th, and now the first 2 here in the 6th have gone down looking. And that'll bring up the right fielder, Scott Krager, who's grounded out to second and reached on an error. First pitch by Beliveau. Swung on and missed. 0-1. And you can see now that the defense, they're all just kind of standing there a little bit. I think they're a little bit mesmerized by what they're seeing as well. He gets a piece of it, and it drops into right field for a base hit. So the guy in the lineup who strikes out at a higher rate than anybody else, Scott Krieger, got a piece of it and went the opposite way into right field for a 2-out base hit. And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Juan Sanchez, who's grounded out the third and hit a sacrifice fly ball to center field to score Sean Zaraga with the third Manatees run in the bottom of the 4th. Krieger at first base stole his first Florida State League bag earlier in the game. Fastball inside corner, 0-1. Belivau's velocity very consistent, 91, 92, 93 miles an hour. Very rarely do we see anything else other than a fastball out of him. Jeff's next pitch is going to bloop into center field for a base hit. Around second, heading for third is Krieger. He'll make it standing as the center fielder Valdez gets the ball back in. So back-to-back singles with 2 down. The lead run now is at third base with 2 down. We go back to the top of the lineup to Josh Prince, who's doubled, walked, and struck out. Well, you got to figure, too, if you're getting strikeout after strikeout after strikeout, that ball is in the strike zone. And it's just a matter of timing it and making contact. But also, pitches can have movement. It's not just the location, it's also movement. And with a fastball, 4-seam fastball is not always straight. Sometimes it can rise, sometimes get a little bit of a run in it. Fastball up high, 1-0. Major league hitters, you can put them up against a guy with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but if that ball doesn't have any movement and it's down the heart of the strike zone, they're going to hit it. 1-0 pitch. Hits the outside corner with a fastball, and the count's 1-1. Sanchez at first, 4 stolen bases, and is yet to be caught. Krieger down the line from third. 1-1 pitch. Inside, and the count's 2-1. Well, this lead's gone back and forth and back and forth. The Manatees would like to take the lead here again in the bottom of the 6th inning in a 3-3 tie. 2-1 pitch. Fastball hits the outside corner, and the count's 2-2. Defense is playing straight away for Prince. Center fielder Valdez is maybe a little bit deeper than you might suspect for Prince. Generally not considered a power hitter. He has only 1 dinger this year. 2-2 pitch. Sliced foul down the first base line. It goes over the aluminum overhang and leaves the stadium, and the count remains 2-2. No slight on Josh at all intended, but he's not much of a power hitter. In fact, his slugging percentage is only .300. But all the Manatees want here is just a base hit to get Krieger in from third to give them the lead. 2-2 pitch. And there's a fly ball into left center field. Racing into the alley is the center fielder Valdez to the warning track for the final out. Well, me and my big mouth, I was saying that maybe he was playing a little bit too deep for Josh Prince, but that ball took a ride up the alley in left center field, and center fielder Valdez racing into the alley caught up with it at the warning track for the final out. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left. And after 6, it's the Cubs 3 and the Manatees 3. Well, as we said, the score's gone back and forth. Cubs got on the board first in the top of the 2nd on the solo homer by Michael Brenly to make it 1-0. Scratched out another run in the top of the 3rd to make it 2-0. Then the Manatees got on the board in the bottom of the 3rd to make it 2-1. Tied it up in the bottom of the 4th with 2 runs to make it 3-3. Or to make it 3-2, rather, Manatees. And then in the top of the 5th, the Cubs got a run to tie it up at 3-3. Trey Watton out on the mound for his 2nd inning of work in relief of Daniel Merklinger. We were telling you earlier about his amateur career based on articles I found on the internet on the Abilene Reporter News website, which is his hometown paper. He was selected in the 7th round of the 2008 draft by the Brewers. And he said the day that he was drafted that he was done with amateur ball. He was turning pro. He is quoted as saying, "I'm glad it's all over. It was nerve-wracking. I wanted to get taken in the first day just so I could get it over with. But it's good to finally get taken. It was definitely worth the wait. It's a great feeling because I now know what I'm doing for the next 3 or 4 months of my life. Baseball is my priority now and not school, which has never been the case. I've been playing baseball my whole life, and it was always schoolwork first. Now I'm playing baseball for a living, and I'm just looking forward to the next thing that happens." It said he had already agreed to terms on a contract with the Brewers. Well, you can tell that Scott Boras wasn't his agent, and that he was going to fly immediately from home to Berryville, Arizona, where the Brewers minor league camp is. All right, top of the 7th, 3-3 tie. Leading it off is Junior Lake, who swings and misses. Actually, he did get a tiny piece of that, and the ball rolled back behind the catcher, Zaraga. The count's 0-1. Lake left at the plate when David Macias was thrown out trying to steal second. Third baseman Juan Sanchez was in a step or two at third. Now he's back even with the bag. 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball swung on and missed, and the count's 0-2. We were quoting Trey Watton as saying that when he signed, he knew he was going to be playing baseball for a living, and I think that's something that can't be emphasized enough. Swung on and missed on an off-speed pitch, and Junior Lake goes down swinging. Back to the top of the lineup to Jose Valdez. Valdez grounded to first, laid down a sacrifice in the third, and reached on a fielder's choice in the fifth. First pitch by Watton misses away, 1-0. Have an email from someone asking if Matt Klein is ailing. Klein is on the roster, and he is active. 1-0 pitch, a slice foul down the third base line, and it curls up into the aluminum bleachers down near the left field foul pole, and the count's 1-1. Last time I was here, which was a week ago, I was told that he was a little bit under the weather. Here's a bunt right back to the pitcher, Watton, who goes on to first, and the ball is dropped by the first baseman, Halton. The ball arrived at the same time as did Valdez, and this could be ruled an error. The throw was just a little bit low. Halton was on the bag. He reached down the field, the ball right about at his ankle, and Valdez arrived at the same time, and I think they all just kind of got tangled up. Valdez didn't touch the ball at all, but it's been ruled an error, most likely on the first baseman, Halton. So Valdez is on first with one down, and that'll bring up third baseman DJ LeMahieu. Who came into the game batting .291. Valdez off at first, 9 for 11 in stolen bases. There's the throw back to first, and Valdez dives back in. So anyway, the emailer asking about Matt Klein, I was told a week ago that he was a bit under the weather. At the time, I got the impression it was a day-to-day thing. There's a more serious pickoff throw, and Valdez is back yet again. I haven't seen any kind of a transaction indicating that Klein is on the disabled list. And in fact, he did play June 24, 25, 26. There goes the runner, pitches outside, throw down to second, and they got him. Zaraga's throw to the second base side of the bag. Shortstop Josh Prince coming over to cover. The throw was, as I said, wide to the second base side of the bag, but Prince gloved the ball and swatted Valdez on the derriere as he dove by. And that's the second runner caught by Sean Zaraga, 2-6. 1-0 pitch is high, and it counts 2-0. So anyway, Matt Klein played on June 24, 25, and 26. But he hasn't played since then. There's a bounder up the middle, backhanded by Miranda on the grass, throw over to first, and yes, he got him! Some nifty defensive work by the middle infield of the Brevard County Manatees. So they erase the runner who reached on the error, and in essence, the Cubs go down 1-2-3 in the top of the seventh, and as we go to the stretch half of the seventh, it's 3-3, and I'll let you listen and take me out to the ball game.
We hope you're enjoying the Vampire Appreciation Blood Drive Night, presented by
stretch out to the 7th in a 3-3 tie. As I said at the beginning of the broadcast, if this is your first webcast with us, the Manatees do not have a radio contract, and so SpaceCoastBaseball.com volunteered to webcast 15 games this year over the internet. There are no commercials, so this is all just me on the fly. Obviously, I'm not a professional broadcaster, but in any case, don't get any breaks there between innings, and so getting to take the headset off and stick it out the window for you to listen to taking you out to the ball game was the first breaks I've gotten since we went on the air at 6:50 p.m. We have a new pitcher for Daytona, number 48, David Patton. So Jeff Bullivo is done. He came in the bottom of the 5th, struck out the first 5 batters he saw, and with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th, gave up 2 singles and then got a fly out to end his night. So 2 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, and no walks. Quite an impressive night for Jeffrey Bullivo. The right-hander, David Patton, Patton, making his 20th relief appearance, 2-3 with a 5.90 ERA. He'll face Sergio Miranda, followed by Eric Komatsu and Angel Salome. Patton working from the stretch on the first pitch. Fastball is inside corner, 0-1. In 29 innings, Patton struck out 15, walked 19, so you have to keep an eye on his control here. 0-1 pitch is way inside, and it counts 1-1. The radar in his first 2 pitches was clocked at 89 and 90. One pitch, swung on, and Miranda gets just a piece of it and rolls it to the backstop, and the count goes 1-2. The outfield is shaded just slightly the opposite way for Miranda. 1-2 pitch is a line drive down the left field line, foul. Sergio does an excellent job of making contact and swinging from the left side. He is a switch hitter, batting left-handed, but swinging from the left side. He's definitely capable of going the opposite way down the line. 1-2 pitch by Patton is a bounder down to the second baseman, Macias, who takes him a couple of hops, goes to Riddling for the first out. So Miranda gone 4-3, and that'll bring up center fielder Eric Komatsu. Komatsu lined to first, singled, and struck out. Relief pitcher David Patton began his career with the Colorado Rockies. He was drafted in the 12th round in June 2004. First pitch, Komatsu shows a bunt. He rolls it up the third baseline. Patton himself goes over to field at not a chance. And Eric Komatsu is on with a bunt single. So with 1 out, Komatsu on first, and that'll bring up the DH, Angel Salome. Anyway, Patton, originally drafted in the 12th round by the Colorado Rockies in 2004. And then he was selected by the Cincinnati Reds from the Rockies in the Rule 5 draft, December 11, 2008. If you don't know what that is, we'll tell you in just a bit. That same day, he was traded by the Reds to the Cubs for cash. And he actually got to make his big league debut last year as a result. First pitch is down and away. Did he go around? Yes, he did, and the count's 0-1. Now let me explain what the Rule 5 draft is, because it actually got Patton into the big leagues last year for 20 games. In 28 innings, struck out 23, walked 19, had a 6.83 ERA. 0-1 pitch, breaking ball, hits the outside corner and counts 0-2. So you're thinking, well, how did he go from being in the big leagues all the way down to advanced Class A? Well, it has to do with the vagaries of the Rule 5 draft, which is one of those archaic rules of baseball bureaucracy. Snap throw to first, and diving back in is Komatsu. Eric 17 for 21 and stolen bases. So definitely a threat to go, especially with one out. In a 3-3 tie here in the bottom of the seventh. Leaning towards second. Long set by Patton. There goes Komatsu. Breaking ball is bounced over Patton's head down to the second baseman, who gloves it in front of the bag, goes on to first for the out, and advancing to second is Komatsu.
The first baseman, number 24, Sean Halton.
So Komatsu on second with 2 down, and that'll bring up Sean Halton. Line out to right and struck out twice. Now the concept behind the Rule 5 draft, and actually a little bit of trivia for you, is that the annual June draft is the Rule 4 draft. It has to do with the professional baseball rule book that covers drafts and player transactions. Rule 5, the idea behind that is to keep organizations from stockpiling talent in the minor leagues forever, to give them an opportunity to go somewhere else. There's a breaking ball that's skied down the first baseline. It's going to curl back into the bleachers, and it counts 0-1. Every December, what happens is that each major league organization is required to protect a certain number of players who have been in their organization for X number of years, and that X value depends on whether they came out of high school or college. But if they're not protected, and they can only protect a finite amount. 0-1 pitch by Patton. Breaking ball. It's going to get past the shortstop in the left field for a base hit. Here comes Komatsu around third. The ball gets through the wickets of the left fielder, Borges. Komatsu scores, and the Manatees take a 4-3 lead. Well, it's going to be a single for Sean Halton for sure. And it looks like they're going to say Komatsu scored all the way. No error on Borges, although the ball got through his legs and rolled behind him. The feeling probably is that with Komatsu's speed, he was going to score anyway. So it's a 2 RBI single for Sean Halton, and the Manatees have taken a 4-3 lead here in the bottom of the seventh. With Halton on third and 2 down, that'll bring up Brock Kelgard, who flied to center, walked, and struck out looking. First pitch by Patton, breaking ball, misses down low, 1-0. So anyway, with the Rule 5 draft, there actually are multiple phases. There's a big league phase, a major league phase, and minor league phases. Patton was not placed on the 40-man roster in time for the major league phase, which exposed him to the draft. Breaking ball leaves it up, and the count's 2-0. So because the Rockies did not protect him, the Cincinnati Reds selected him on December 11th of 2008, and then the Reds turned around and sold him to the Cubs for cash. Now, once that happens, you can't just bury that guy again. Fastball misses. Gosh, I don't know where that was. Maybe it was an inch or so low because it was on the outside corner. It counts 3-0. If you draft someone in the major league phase of the Rule 5 draft, you're required to keep him on the major league roster for all of the next year. And that's how David Patton wound up in the big leagues with the Cubs for all of 2009. 3-0 pitch, breaking ball swung on and missed, and the count's 3-1 to Brock Kelgard. Any team that drafts another organization's players required to pay money for him, and I'm blanking out on the amount. But I want to say it's something like $50,000. It's not a lot of money. Breaking ball down the middle, and the count's 3-2. If an organization decides they do not want to keep him for the full year, they have to offer him back at half price. And so if the Rockies didn't want him back, then the Cubs could just keep him and they could send him to the minors. 3-2 pitch, up and in, ball 4. So advancing on the walk to second base is Sean Halton. Brock Kelgard is on first with 2 down, runners at first and second. And that'll bring up the catcher, Sean Zaraga. So anyway, wrapping up on Rule 5, the Cubs had to keep Patton in the big leagues all last year, and when an organization does that, usually they just bury the guy in the back of the bullpen. They use him for mop-up. The only exception to sending him to the minors is if he's injured, if he's recovering from an injury. First pitch by Patton. Fastball down the middle, strike one. And in fact, Patton did get some time in the minors last year with the Cubs. 3 games at AA Tennessee and 5 games with AAA Iowa. And I suspect those were probably on rehab assignments for an injury. There's a breaking ball away and the count's 1-1. But since the Cubs bit the bullet and kept him on the Major League roster, even if a disabled list, for a full year, he is now the full-time property of the Chicago Cubs. 1-1 pitch is taken up, and the count's 2-1. Manatees back in the lead, 4-3 here in the bottom of the 7th. Sean Halton off of second, Brock Kelgard off of first, looking for more, with Sean Zaraga at the plate. 2-1 pitch, inside, 3-1. Michael Brenly held it there on the inside corner to see if the home plate umpire, Nick Lentz, would give him the call, but no such luck. Manatees looking for an insurance run. We're here in the bottom of the 7th with 2 down. 3-1 pitch. Fastball misses away, ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
The right fielder, number 47, Scott Krieger.
Here comes the pitching coach for the Daytona Cubs, number 3, Tom Pratt. We can see the Daytona Cubs bullpen down the left field line. The bullpen runs parallel to the left field wall. And we can't see much other than maybe torso up if somebody was warming up. And there is nobody throwing right now. There are a couple of Daytona players who are leaning over the fence. That fence is 8 feet high, and I'm guessing there must be some sort of step there that they can stand on and look over the fence there. The Manatees bullpen is down behind the right field corner, down behind the right field foul pole, and we cannot see what goes on down there. They could be playing Parcheesi for all we know. All right, Scott Krieger steps in. The first pitch is blocked by Brenly. It was a fastball down in the dirt and away, and the count's 1-0. Krieger grounded to second, reached on an error, and singled. Halted on third, Kelgard on second, Zaraga on first. Base hit could give the Manatees at least 1 run, maybe 2, and pad their 4-3 lead. Fastball down and away, and the count's 2-0. Two-0 pitch by Patton is skied on the first base side, drifting in foul territory, riddling over towards the Manatee dugout, but it bounces off of the concrete walkway up into the upper level of the bleachers, and the count goes 2-1. Got an email from Scott Krieger's parents saying thank you for the coverage of the game. Well, he's at the plate right now, and a base hit here makes him the hero of the moment, because he could drive in 2 runs to give the Manatees a comfortable lead. 2-1 pitch. Curveball misses away, and the count's 3-1. Michael Brenly tried to hold it there, but home plate umpire Nick Lentz has not been that generous tonight when Brenly's tried to frame pitches. By framing a pitch, what we mean is that the catcher will position himself when he catches the ball to try to move it in right on the corner of the plate, hoping that the umpire can't see that he caught it one place and put it somewhere else. 3-1 pitch. High ball 4. The run is forced in, and the Manatees now lead 5-3.
The third baseman, number 30, Juan Sanchez.
Still no action in the Daytona bullpen. That's the 3rd straight walk by David Patton. And in the minor leagues, sometimes you see that wins are sacrificed for player development. This would seem to be one of those situations where Patton has to get some work in. Now they're starting to move around in that Daytona bullpen. Juan Sanchez at the plate. Big breaking ball loops inside, and it's 1-0. Sanchez grounded to third, flied out to center, and singled. As I said, the Daytona bullpen out behind the left field wall, and about all we can see is from the letters up on whoever's warming up. It's a right-hander. Really can't make out who it is. Fastball down the middle, strike one. Well, certainly the Chicago Cubs must have seen something in Patton that they would not only be willing to pay for Patton's services in the Rule 5 draft, but to keep him in the big leagues all of last year to retain his permanent rights. There's a bouncer past Patton up the middle. The shortstop Lake has it, goes on to Riddling at first for the final out. So the bases are left loaded, but the Manatees add 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 walks, and as we said, the bases were left loaded. After 7, it's the Manatees 5 and the Cubs 3. As I said, Scott Krieger's parents emailing from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm guessing you folks are Baltimore Orioles fans, and I'm old enough certainly to remember the Orioles' glory days in the late 60s and throughout the 70s when they were one of the class organizations in the major leagues. And, I have my favorite teams, but I also love just professional baseball as it is and its history. And you have a beautiful stadium there, but it's really kind of sad to see how that once proud organization has fallen on bad times. I actually saw a game in maybe 1989, 1990, somewhere in there, in the old Memorial Stadium in that residential neighborhood in Baltimore. I don't know if they ever tore it down. The last I heard, it was being used at one time for minor league games and some other amateur events, but I don't know if it's still in use. All right, top of the 8th. Manatees with a little bit more breathing room now, leading 5-3. Trey Watton is still on the mound for his 3rd inning of work. He'll face the 3-4-5 hitters in the Daytona lineup: Ryan Flaherty, Rebel Riddling, and Kyler Burke. I have an email from the fan, Jim Goulart, who was asking me the question about Matt Klein, and he went back into the play-by-play archives, thank you very much, and he found that Matt Klein, in a game on the 26th in the 10th inning, left the game on a ground out and then was replaced defensively by Steve Braun and hasn't played since then. So I'm sorry, I don't know why he hasn't played since then. I'll see if I can find out sometime tomorrow, and I'll email you and let you know the answer. All right, Ryan Flaherty steps in, batting left-handed against Watton. First pitch, fastball misses away, 1-0. Flaherty grounded out twice and reached on a walk. He's ranked the Cubs' number 9 prospect by Baseball America. It's a grounder down the first baseline past the first base coach, who's the hitting coach, Richie Zisk. And the count's 1-1. But in any case, as I said, I'm by no means the full-time broadcaster here. This is just a volunteer effort, so it's kind of hard to keep up on the melodrama in the clubhouse in terms of who's coming and who's going. Flaherty swings and misses on a breaking ball, and the count's 1-2. And this is no knock on the Manatees front office by any means, because they're certainly not alone in this, but some minor league teams are more open than others when it comes to posting player transactions on their websites, and sometimes that comes down from the major league club. Next pitch, he checks his swing, did not go around, the count's 2-2. I mentioned before that I moved here a year ago from California, where I ran another website, FutureAngels.com, that covers the Angels minor leagues, and I still run that. I've run that since 1998. And the Angels have always been very disciplined, at least in the last few years, about making sure that no player transactions, injuries are announced until the parent club says so. 2-2 pitch, inside corner, strike 3 called. Flaherty doesn't agree, has some words for Nick Lentz, who's looking back at Flaherty as he walks back towards the dugout. But apparently he didn't say any of the magic words. In any case, it's the second strikeout for Trey Watton. And with one out, that'll bring up Rebel Riddling, who flied out to right, grounded out, and reached on a fielder's choice. Watton working from the stretch even with nobody on, and the first pitch to Riddling is a grounder past the third baseman Sanchez, who got just a piece of it, and then it goes over to Prince, who picks it up and throws on to first, but not in time to get Riddling. So that'll be an infield hit for Rebel Riddling. Sanchez, to his left, diving, got his glove on it, just enough to slow it down. Josh Prince picked it up and kept it from going into the outfield, whirling through to first to halt him, but not in time to catch Riddling. So with one out and Rebel Riddling on first, that'll bring up Kyler Burke, their right fielder. Burke flied out to center, singled, and popped out to second. First pitch to Burke swung on and missed on an off-speed pitch, and the count's 0-1. Riddling at first is 2 for 6 in stolen bases. Rather unlikely to be going, you would think. At 6'4", 235, not exactly a speed burner. 0-1 pitch, fastball taken down the middle, and the count's 0-2. Halton holding on Riddling at first, and by holding him on there, it opens a hole on the right side of the infield for the left-handed batting Burke to pull the ball into right field. So you would think the Cubs would actually want Riddling to hold on at first, and he's only taken a couple of steps lead. 0-2 pitch. Gets away from the catcher's Duraga, rolls over to the Daytona on-deck circle, and advancing to second is Riddling. That's probably a wild pitch, but as I said before, we don't get the official scorer's ruling, and we have to look them up online. In any case, we were talking about whether or not you can find out easily about a player's injury. And there was a federal law passed a few years ago, the acronym of which is HIPAA, H-I-P-A-A. Breaking ball misses away, and the count's 2-2. If you go to Google or Yahoo and you type in HIPAA, you'll find out everything you want to know about it. But basically, part of that is that it protects the privacy of someone who's ill. And if you've gone to a drugstore or pharmacy in the last few years, you notice that their processes have changed and their procedures have changed to protect your privacy. Here's a fly ball in the short center field. Coming in is Komatsu into left center field, and he gloves it for the second out. Holding at second base is Rebel Riddling. With 2 down, I'll bring up Michael Brenly.
The catcher, number 18, Michael Brenly.
Brenly homered and singled twice. So in any case, once HIPAA passed, some major league organizations interpreted that to mean that they could not release information on a player's injury because it was considered private, confidential information until the player signed a waiver saying that the information could be released. And now the Angels have been pretty tight on that sort of thing. First pitch is a fastball, misses away, 1-0. I think some organizations have gone around that just simply by, at least with minor league players who are not part of the major league union, they just sign a document at the beginning of the year that says, I agree to release information. I don't think they're forced to sign it. Fastball misses away and the count's 2-0. But in any case, that's why it is sometimes that you can't find out information about a player's status if he has an injury, if he's day-to-day, if there's some little nagging boo-boo. If he says, no, I don't want anybody to know about it, then we don't know about it. 2-0 pitch. Swung on, and it's a foul ball over to the right side of the press box. Bounces about 5 rows short of one of the luxury boxes, and the count's 2-1. The more you're around minor league baseball, the more you learn about the business side and why it is that things that you would think are very simple that they can't be revealed, or why certain decisions are made that don't seem logical. Breaking ball sweeps away, and it counts 3-1. On deck is Smiley Borges. Cubs trail the Manatees 5-3 here with 2 outs in the top of the 8th. Tying run at the plate with Michael Brenly, who homered in the second. So certainly has the power to tie it up. 3-1 pitch, checked his swing, and it rolls foul up the first baseline. Wow, that could have been bad news for Michael Brenly. He didn't want to swing, checked his swing, caught just a piece of it, and started to roll up the first baseline, but it quickly rolled foul. Now, speaking of FutureAngels.com, and I was looking for an opportunity to get this in somewhere tonight with Rebel Riddling, because this is the first time our careers have crossed paths since the Fall Instructional League in 2008 in Phoenix. 3-2 pitch, breaking ball high, strike 3 called. Brenly had started towards first, but he walks away without complaint. And I guarantee, though, when he squats by home plate in the bottom of the 8th, he'll have some words for home plate umpire Nick Lentz. At the very least, he'll say, well, you know what? You gave that to Trey Watt, and I'm going to ask you to give that to David Patton as well. In any case, no runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 8th, and the Manatees still holding on to a 5-3 lead over the Daytona Cubs. Anyway, the story I want to tell about Rebel Riddling is that if you have been to SpaceCoastBaseball.com, you can see in the left column that I have all those video clips that I've been doing, and if you go under multimedia and you select videos, you'll see what's in the archives over the last year. And SpaceCoastBaseball.com follows the same model as FutureAngels.com, the difference being that FutureAngels.com is based on one organization, whereas Space Coast Baseball is based on one region, Brevard County, a.k.a. the Space Coast. So I was at the Fall Instructional League in Phoenix late September, early October 2008. If you're not familiar with what Fall Instructional League is, it's basically an informal 4 to 6 week program that most, but not all, Major League organizations put on after the regular season for players mostly in their first or second professional year. Sometimes it's players who maybe are learning a new position, or a pitcher needs to pick up a new pitch or something like that. And what they do is they work out on the minor league complex, and they play a schedule of informal games against other organizations. And you know, internal statistics are kept, but they're not officially reported anywhere because the games are not official. And so I was doing my Future Angels thing, and I was down the first base foul line over at the Angels minor league complex in Tempe. They were playing the Mesa Cubs, and Rebel Riddling was playing first base. So one of the Angels batters hits a little pop foul up the first baseline. There's no camera well, so I'm in foul territory down the line. But the ball wasn't hit very high, and I didn't have much time to charge in one direction or another. And here comes Rebel Riddling, all 6'4", 235 pounds, and charging right at me. And I finally realized, you know what, there's nowhere I can go. So I just took my camera and I cuddled it against my chest, and I turned into the chain link, turned my back to Riddling, and he smacked right into me, and the ball landed just on the other side of the chain link, foul. So Rebel Riddling and I got to know each other on a first-name basis, and that was the first year in, well, I guess, 11 years of doing my thing at that point, that I'd ever been hit by a ball player. All right, bottom of the 8th, Josh Prince leads it off and hits a fly ball in a short center field. Coming in is the center fielder, Valdez, for the out. I was holding my breath there because the ball was taking forever to come down. And Valdez kind of was frozen in his tracks for a while, almost like he lost it in the night. Anyway, we have a new pitcher for Daytona. It's number 35, Oswaldo Martinez. I'll tell you more about him in just a moment. The first pitch to Miranda is taken low, ball 1. So anyway, after Rebel Riddling smacked me, I've kind of kept an eye on him in his career ever since then, and our paths now cross here in Florida, and that's the part of the charm of minor league baseball. Next pitch misses and the count's 2-0. Is that you run across people from time to time, and it doesn't matter what part of the country it is, but you run into people sometimes years and years later. 2-0 pitch, fastball hits the outside corner, 2-1. For Martinez, his 19th relief appearance, he's 3-3 with a 2.81 ERA. In 32 innings, 21 strikeouts, 19 walks, the league batting 190 against him. 2-1 pitch is a hard grounder past the second baseman, Macias into right field. Burke gobbles up the ball and gets it back into the infield. It's a one-out single for Sergio Miranda. So that'll bring up Eric Komatsu, who lined to first, singled, struck out, and singled. To give you another example of the 6 degrees of separation in minor league baseball, the Manatees' first base coach and hitting coach, Dwayne Hosey, was part of the Cedar Rapids Colonels coaching staff in 2001. That's the lower Class A affiliate of the California, Los Angeles, Anaheim, what is it this week, Angels. First pitch misses 1-0. I think they were 2001 Anaheim Angels. In any case, he was the hitting coach there for a year and got to know him a little bit, and then he moved on, and then here we are in 2010, and the Brewers hire him to be the hitting coach here in Brevard. Fastball misses away, and it counts 2-0. So we renewed acquaintances, and he remembered me, and we talked about some things and people we know from Cedar Rapids. 2-0 pitch. There goes the runner. It's the fastball away. The throw down to second, and Miranda is gone. 2-6. That's Brenly down to the shortstop, Lake. So Sergio Miranda is erased, and the count is 3-0 to Eric Komatsu. Another connection, Nick Green, who began the year in the Manatees bullpen, was also in the Angels organization one time. There's a fastball down the middle, 3-1. Hadn't seen him. We talk about the Rule 5 draft. I think actually the Angels lost him to the Brewers on waivers when they took him off the 40-man roster a couple of years ago. 3-1 pitch is skied down the left field line. Racing into the corner is Borges, and he has it about 5 feet in fair territory for the final out.
Attention, Manatee fans, your very own magazine is waiting for you right now. That's Senior C.
No runs, a hit. Miranda on a single, a race trying to steal second. Nobody left. And we go to the top of the ninth. Manatees 3 outs away from a 5-3 win in the final game of this 4-game series against the Daytona Cubs. In any case, going back to the personal diary, running into Nick Green in April when the Manatees reported here from Maryville, looked him up, hadn't seen him in 3 years. I knew him from when he broke in 2004 with the Provo Angels in Rookie A, same level as the Helena Brewers. And we caught up on things, and he reminded me that he had been roommate in Double-A with Nick Adenhart, of course, the talented young pitcher for the Angels who lost his life in an auto accident in April of 2009. And unlike many of Nick Adenhart's other teammates, mostly who were at AAA Salt Lake and had each other for consolation, Nick was in the Brewers organization, I think in Double-A at the time, and he had no friends to console him with his former buddy and roommate. In any case, making the point just that minor league baseball is this immensely large fraternity where you may go years without seeing someone and they suddenly pop up again. In fact, 2 former Angels minor leaguers are now college coaches here in Florida that I ran into earlier in the year. Azarias Corbeil, who was a 2001 Provo Angel, now is the assistant coach at Florida Southern University in Lakeland. And Joe Urso, who was a very popular infielder in the mid-1990s, went on to manage and coach in the Angels organization a couple of years early in this decade. He now is the head coach at University of Tampa. So we all do get around. New pitcher for the Manatees. We go to the top of the ninth. It'll be right-hander Andre LaMontagne, number 32. Andre spells his last name L-A-M-O-N-T-A-G-N-E. making his 8th relief appearance of the year for the Manatees. 1-1 with a 1.46 ERA. 12 1/3 innings, 8 strikeouts, 5 walks. He hasn't given up a home run, and a league batting 167 against Andre LaMontagne.
Your attention, ladies and gentlemen, pinch hitting for the Cubs. Start top of the ninth, number 4, Jake Opitz.
We're going to have a pinch hitter for the Manatees as we go to the, for the Daytona Cubs as we go to the top of the ninth. Number 4, Jake Opitz, O-P-I-T-Z, batting left-handed against the right-hander LaMontagne. Fastball misses inside, 1-0. Opitz batting .286, 28 for 98, no homers, 12 RBI. 1-0 pitch, misses again, the count's 2-0. Opitz, as we said, 98 at-bats, 7 doubles, 1 triple, no home runs. 2-0 pitch, fastball misses low, 3-0. So 3 fastballs, and he's missed all 3 times. LaMontagne began the year at low Class A Wisconsin, the level below Brevard County in the Brewers chain. This pitch is taken for a strike to count 3-1. In 16 relief appearances with Wisconsin, 2-2, 2.36 ERA, 5 saves, 26 2/3 innings, 26 strikeouts, 14 walks. Another pitch taken for a strike, and the count goes full, 3-2. Opitz tossed his bat away halfway towards the Daytona dugout, trying to sell it, but Nick Lentz called it a strike anyway. And now with the count 3-2 and showing up the umpire there, if this one's anywhere around home plate, Mr. Opitz should probably be swinging. 3-2 pitch. Swings and fouls it on the left side out of the stadium over the aluminum overhang on the third base side, and the count remains 3-2. Umpires do try to play it as honest as they can, but at the same time, you don't want to show up the home plate umpire because someone will take it a little personally. 3-2 pitch to Opitz. It's a high fly ball to right center field. Racing over is Komatsu. Coming over from the right field is Krieger, but Komatsu has it for the first out. That was a high pop fly ball into the right center field.
Second baseman number 1, David Macias.
So with 1 out, that'll bring up second baseman David Macias. 2 for 3, 2 singles, and reached on a fielder's choice. Sanchez in on the grass at third. The first pitch misses away, 1-0. Sanchez looking for the possibility of a bunt by Macias. The 1-0 pitch. Fastball hits the inside corner, 1-1. Now Macias is batting left-handed against LaMontagne, but the center fielder, Komatsu, is over a good 15-20 feet into left center field. 1-1 pitch. Checks his swing, and it bounces over the head of the drawn-in Sanchez at third and rolls down the left field line for a base hit. Over to field, the ball is Kelgard, and Macias is on first with a 1-out single. Well, playing in, looking for the bunt, cost Sanchez there because it took a high hop on the infield. The field is getting baked pretty hard here in the Florida summer, and so we're going to see more high hops like that as the season goes on, and probably some bad bounces too. If we start to get a lot of rain, it's really going to start to muck things up. But as I said, so far, it's been pretty much of a dry month here in June. It should start to rain more as we get in the next couple of weeks. And then, of course, we're going to have an eye on the hurricane predictions as we get into July, August, and September. All right, Macias on first with 1 out, and that brings up Junior Lake. First pitch, breaking ball inside corner, strike 1. Lake reached on a bunt single, singled outright, and struck out. Macias at first, 2 for 2 in stolen bases. With only 2 outs left, it'd be a bit of a risk to be sending him down by 2 runs. Next pitch, he checks his swing, and the pitch misses away, and it counts 1-1. Macias takes a couple steps off first. The 1-1 pitch swung on and it's lined right back into the net, and the count's 1-2. This would seem to be LaMontagne's to save if he can. Once again, we cannot see the Manatees dugout down behind the right field foul pole, tucked behind the stands. So I don't know if anybody's up or not, but I would think that unless he totally blows it, this is LaMontagne's inning. 1-2 pitch is a fly ball down the right field line, curling the foul territory. Racing over is the first baseman Halton, but he can't catch up to it. It bounces off of the warning track up into the stands, and the count remains 1-2. We have a lot of foul territory here at Space Coast Stadium, behind home plate and up the foul lines. The stands are horseshoe-shaped, so there's a lot of foul territory, and then as you get about two-thirds of the way down the foul lines, it curls in radically, leaving you maybe only 4 or 5 feet between the foul lines and the stands, all the way into the corners. Count remains 1-2. LaMontagne taking a long look in at the catcher, Sean Zaraga. Macias off first. And the 1-2 pitch. Inside, did it hit him? He's acting like it did. Runners advancing to second. Time call. The trainer comes out for the Daytona Cubs, and down from third base comes Buddy Bailey, the manager. It looked like maybe it caught him on his right hand or his right arm somewhere. Could have been on his left hand. It could have been either hand. Now he's gesturing to his right arm. It looked like it came in on his hands, and for a while he was holding up his left hand up by his left shoulder, and his right arm was dangling along his body. And now the trainer is working with the right arm. He has it by the wrist, and he's flipping it up and down like a lever, and he's rubbing the area around the bicep. And he seems to be okay, and he's going on to first. So Junior Lake is on first after being hit by a pitch. David Macias advances to second. His run really doesn't matter. It's Lake you're worried about because he represents the tying run. LaMontagne, that's the first batter he's hit here in the Florida State League this year. And in fact, he didn't hit anybody in Wisconsin either in the 26 2/3 innings he'd worked there. So that's the first guy he's nailed. Back to the top of the lineup. First pitch misses away. 1-0. Have a pinch hitter for Valdez. It's number 8, Mark Reed, who's listed as a catcher on the Daytona roster. Fastball misses away, and the count's 2-0. Reed batting .229 and 105 at-bats, 24 hits, no home runs, 10 RBI. Ground ball here, double play, ends the game. 2-0 pitch. Fastball hits the outside corner, and the count's 2-1. Reed has grounded into 1 double play this year. 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball, line drive past the diving Halton into right field for a base hit. Coming into third and holding is Macias. Stopping at second is Lake. Reed is on first. He represents the go-ahead run. And that'll bring up the third baseman, DJ LeMahieu. Here comes pitching coach Fred Dabney out on the mound to visit LaMontagne. Catcher Zaraga out there, and all the infielders, with the exception of Sergio Miranda, the second baseman, are out on the infield. Miranda chooses instead to go over and have a chat with the runner at second, Junior Lake. And as I said, I wonder why some guys come in and some don't. I'll have to ask one of the coaches about that sometime. It was a rather short visit. Everybody going back to their positions. Quickly to refresh on other scores in the Florida State League while we try to reset. During the day, Clearwater beat Dunedin 4-0. Lakewood and Tampa, Lakeland Flying Tigers at the Tampa Yankees postponed. It was a makeup doubleheader. I'm assuming they got rained out. All right, DJ LeMahieu at the plate. First pitch is a pop fly going foul towards the Manatee dugout. Sean Halton appears to have room and gloves it in foul territory for the second out. Big out because a base hit could tie this up. So with 2 down, that'll bring up the DH, Ryan Flaherty. Grounded to second twice, walked, and struck out. Flaherty batting .313 coming into the game. 2 homers, 27 RBI. That batting average was good for number 8 in the Florida State League coming into today. The first pitch by LaMontagne swung on and missed on a breaking ball, 0-1. Macias at third. His run really doesn't matter, except it gets them closer. Junior Lake at second, the tying run. Matt Reed at first, the go-ahead run. 2 down, 5-3 Manatees. The 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball missed inside, and the count's 1-1. Cubs manager Buddy Bailey coaching at third. He's down the line to wave his runners around. Swung on and missed on a fastball, and the count's 1-2. You'll see managers when they're coaching at third, instead of standing in the coach's box, they'll come down the line towards home plate, and he's a good 50, 60 feet off the line, almost closer to the dugout than he is to the line. And part of that is to get a better angle, not just for the runners, but also to see the outfield positions. 1-2 pitch. Misses inside with a fastball, and the count goes 2-2. The umpires in the stands wanted strike 3 to end the game. Nick Lentz giveth and Nick Lentz taketh away. The count goes 2-2. LaMontagne 1 strike away. From his third save. 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Manatees win 5-3. For the Manatees, 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. For the Cubs, 3 runs, 12 hits, and 2 errors. It would appear that the win may go to Trey Watton in relief. Let me get the official score off MILB.com in just a moment. But I would think that Watton probably gets the win because the Manatees took the lead in the bottom of the 7th. It was tied 3-3 at that point, and Merkling had left the game. So the win would go to Watton. The loss would appear to go to David Patton, with the save to Andre LaMontagne. Again, real quickly, other scores in the Florida State League tonight. As we said, Clearwater won a day game 4-0 over Dunedin. Lakeland at Tampa in a makeup doubleheader, they were postponed, as were Bradenton at Fort Myers. The Jupiter Hammerheads, the Florida Marlins affiliate, won 8-3 at St. Lucie against the New York Mets affiliate. They're in extra innings in Palm Beach. The Charlotte Stone Crabs, Tampa Bay Rays affiliate, visiting the Palm Beach Cardinals, are tied 1-1 after 10. And then, of course, the Brevard County Manatees have just won here 5-3 over the Daytona Cubs. So, in the second half, the Manatees are now 3-4 after a week of second half play. And I'd have to go back and check it, but I bet you if you look at the Manatees' overall winning percentage here in 2010, you look at the number of games that I webcast, they're doing better in the webcasts than they are overall. And so I know what you're thinking is, well, webcast more games. Well, as I said, I'm volunteering this, and I've got other things I have to do in my life, but it's a nice thought. In any case, the Manatees win it by a score of 5-3 to take the final game in this 4-game series. They go on tomorrow night for a 3-game road trip to Dunedin to play the Blue Jays. Thursday night and Friday night at 7 o'clock, and then Saturday night at 4:30 p.m. in Dunedin. Then they're back here for a 6-game homestand starting on Sunday, the 4th of July, against the Tampa Yankees. The Sunday game starts at 6:05 p.m., and as is traditional on 4th of July events, there'll be fireworks after that game. And then the remaining 2 games of that series against the Tampa Yankees, Monday night, July 5th at 7:05, and Tuesday night, July 6th at 7:05. And that July 6th game will be the next webcast here on SpaceCoastBaseball.com, the second of 3 Tampa Yankee games that we're going to be webcasting in 2010. After that, it's 3 home games against the Clearwater Threshers on Wednesday, July 7, Thursday, July 8, and Friday, July 9. All 3 of those games are at 7:05. Then they go on the road for 3 games, July 10, 11, and 12 in Tampa against the Yankee, and then they're off on July 13, which I'm pretty sure is the Major League 2010 All-Star game. And then they're back home for 4 games against the Charlotte Stone Crabs, July 14th through the 17th. In any case, it's coming up on 10 o'clock Eastern Time here in the Space Coast, so time for all good little broadcasters to tuck themselves in bed. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Once again, final score, the Manatees 5 and the Daytona Cubs 3. And a final reminder that this game will be available archived in its entirety on SpaceCoastBaseball.com sometime tomorrow. And as always, not only do we appreciate your listening, but of course, because these games are done voluntarily and that we survive on the donations of our listeners and the regular visitors to SpaceCoastBaseball.com. If you enjoy these webcasts and you appreciate what we're doing, please consider either a one-time donation or a $5 a month voluntary subscription, and you can find out more information about that through a link that's on the SpaceCoastBaseball.com homepage. Well, everyone, thank you very much for listening, and we got ourselves a win tonight to regain some pride after losing the first 3 against Daytona. It's on to Dunedin, and we will talk to you next Tuesday night against the Tampa Yankees. Thank you for listening, and good night.